podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello.
Hello.
And welcome to Season 21, Episode 2 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
I am Proby Tim.
I'm Starcade. What's your joke?
I don't have a joke.
Oh, I do.
Oh, no, but you know what?
Knock, knock, who's there?
You want to hear mine?
Yes, of course.
Sure, but then I have an actual story to tell you.
I never noticed until you walked in today. You have a. Did you ever notice he has an overbite?
No.
He didn't? No. It's not like all of them, it's just that one tooth. So he's kind of a Timbuktu.
Oh my gosh, dad joke.
That was totally a dad joke.
Wah, wah.
Okay, so one story. Did you guys?
It's still lying there. It's dying. It's just horrible. You're not going to pick it up. You're not even going to acknowledge it. That was just lying there, bleeding.
There is a stare.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a good joke.
I don't think I've ever.
And I didn't look it up on the internet. I came up with that myself.
Did you guys know that
No.
I play accordion?
No.
No.
I do. I took accordion lessons at Milton Mann Studio in Whittier when I was a kid growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that studio.
Yeah, it was awesome. I have a nice Contello accordion. It's all mother pulled. Awesome. Anyway, over my Christmas break, because I took the 2 weeks off for Christmas, I decided I was going to start taking accordion lessons again.
Said no one ever.
Except for Proby Tim, right now and over Christmas. Anyway, so I had 2 lessons over the break. One the week before Christmas and one the week after Christmas, after New Year's. Right?
Right.
But I was, after my first lesson of this year, I was decided to stop by the store on the way home after my lesson just to get a little bit of shopping done. We needed some stuff around the house. And I was shopping, and I realized that, holy shit, I'd left my accordion in the car, and it was unlocked. So I, bailed out of there, because this is an accordion I've had for years. I had it since I was a kid, right? And I run all the way out there, and I look at the car, but it was too late. Someone had put another accordion in.
You know, I had the exact
I know,
same,
that's, yeah.
I had the exact same problem. When I got out there, the accordion was sitting on the ground, the car was gone.
That joke also works with bagpipes and
trombones
and didgeridoos.
That's not really an instrument.
Oh.
It is too.
Yeah, it
is.
is.
It is a rhythm instrument, sir.
It's not even a rhythm. Can you?
It's not a rhythm.
Because once you start, you can't stop. It's not like you can.
It's a.
No, you
yeah,
can't.
You certainly can.
Circular breathing, you can.
Well, yeah, you can't use a horny, but once you get it vibrating,
Bands
up.
I actually play didgeridoo too as well.
Nobody plays
Not
didgeridoo.
I do. I play.
It's like playing a lawnmower. You get it started and then you just hang on.
You, sir. We will have words about this after the show.
Can you play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on a didgeridoo?
Yes. It's just a very monotone twinkle twinkle little star. No, because you can speak through it. You can say words.
That's not an instrument.
You can sing along with it while you're droning and playing.
I can sing and talk while running a chainsaw. It doesn't make it an instrument.
Hey, speaking
But you're
of
not
droning.
circular breathing when
right.
you're running a chainsaw.
You don't know
If a doumbek is considered an instrument, a didgeridoo is considered an
It's a drum, though. Doombeck is just
A whobeck?
You know how to make a.
That's that drum. It's sort of hourglass shaped.
Oh,
It's like you see in the
yeah.
Middle Eastern.
And
churches.
we've talked about this. We
And
recently
hippies at fair play.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know how to make a drummer stop playing?
put sheet music.
Put sheet music in front of him. Yeah, yeah.
That's how you make a boggart stop singing too.
In this episode, we discuss player agency and character emotions. James from New Jersey writes in about playing without a GM. You want some water? You okay? Want a cough drop?
No, I have a soda right now. Thank you.
Want some IPA?
And I think that's why I'm coughing.
Oh, okay.
Midas Carrots from Adelaide, Australia shares some stuff. And Chris from Osaka sends a missive about characters changing in unexpected ways. And a lot of other stuff, actually.
Yeah.
But first, if you would like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We're also on social media. We're on Twitter, happyjacksrpg, all in word, and also on Instagram, same thing, happyjacksrpg, all in word. We're on Facebook.
If you just look up Happy Jacks RPG,
Yeah.
you'll find all the links.
You will.
It does actually come
and
up.
even some we've
Yeah.
forgotten.
Probably.
There might even be a link to a dead page But eventually you'll
Like-
find our forums.
Like the Google Plus group.
The Google Plus group. I went in there and looked, and it just became a spam place for podcasters desperate for listeners.
And Russian
Has it
spam
really?
files.
Just, my new episode's up. My new episode's up. My new episode's up. My new episode's up. I'm like, oh, I should just delete. I can't delete this
We should
group.
just stop that preamble and just say, go search
Go
for
find
Happy
us.
Jack's RPG. You'll find
Find
all
our
of it.
poo.
You'll find us. Find our poo.
Kind of poo.
Are we on Mastodon?
No, we're not on Mastodon. I actually set up a Mastodon account, but I set it up through No Agenda, which is a podcast, and they kind of got banned. Like that server kind of got
really?
banned from a lot of Mastodon
Wow.
distributions.
That's like a distributed social network
Yes,
kind of thing, right?
yes. It. I don't know if it's still. I'm sure it's still going. I would assume it's still going.
Well, I would like to think that we were on Mastodon before it was popular, so that it was pre-hysterical.
Yes.
Oi. Really?
Mastodon, prehistoric.
Why aren't you guys
come
giving
on,
him shit
come
for that?
on,
You gave me shit
right?
for my joke chat room. Hi, chat room.
I know. I was
Nice to see you.
kind of dying to hear what they were saying during all the old man funnies over here.
Pre-hysterical. Look it up. That's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny.
Gunsmoke or Bonanza or whatever that was.
Funnier than Stu's shirt.
What's wrong with my shirt?
It's actually
Your
really
shirt's
awesome.
I
awesome.
probably actually shouldn't wear something this busy on
It's
the
actually
screen.
really awesome.
It's actually
Yeah,
a cool
you-
No, it
shirt,
looks
brother.
good.
You're gonna get a Moari pattern.
I probably. I think I do.
If someone asks if you have a Moari pattern, you
say yes.
Well, no, it looks
No.
okay. It looks okay.
It's strobing.
No, we're streaming in HD now.
It's strobing. It's
That's
a,
right.
Are
streaming
we
in
really?
Yeah.
for a while, yeah.
Nice. HD.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
have a dedicated internet connection now for the studio, which has a much higher up stream.
What are we on now? Up.
It's at 20 megabits up.
Moving on.
We were at
up.
5 before, and that is
on
directly
Deluxe apartment
that
in
is
the sky.
directly a result of the Patreon support because that gave us the funds to be
Yay.
able to buy a second internet connection.
and fiber optic and all that. Yeah.
It's not total fiber. It's fiber to the box on the pole across the street, but it's twisted copper here. But it's so close.
Yeah.
It's like 80 down and 20
That's
up.
awesome.
That's why we haven't
That's
had.
awesome.
I mean, our right now we're ticking along at
We haven't had a problem in the last couple of weeks.
3,000 kilobits per second.
3,000.
Thank you, Patreon
Yeah.
supporters.
And even
Yep.
more important, my kids can still use the internet while we're streaming now, so they're
Because
not
they
like.
actually had to sit in there before
And
and
not
talk
be.
to each other.
Yeah.
Ew.
not-
And that never ends.
No.
Yeah. Otherwise, they were thrust back into the 70s.
Exactly.
Right?
And I tell them about the 70s, and they look at me in horror.
You had to get up and walk across the room and turn the
There
channel.
were, wait, how many channels?
Oh,
3?
6.
tapes.
We had
You mean if you wanted to listen to a song again, you didn't just hit play again? You had to rewind it?
we had one of the first remote controls for our TV set, and what it was is
clicked?
No,
Oh.
it was a little thing that you plugged into the wall. You plugged your TV into it, and it had a little squeeze toy that looked like a remote, right? And when you squeeze it, it would make a little whistling noise, so that and the receiver would hear that whistling noise, and it would trip the power on whatever's plugged into it. And we got so good at we lost it, but you just go, and it would pick that up, and then the TV would go on.
It's like a clapper.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Clap
the
on,
whistler.
clap off.
So, season 20, episode 20, we had a guy who wrote in and say about players adding to narrative. And one of the things that he mentioned was that he liked to do was to, like let's say the party walks into a tavern, and he would say to one of the players, "What is it about this place that reminds you of home?"
I remember that discussion.
And this sort of spawned on the forum an interesting conversation that I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit. And I think it was Aslan on the forum who said he was kind of surprised that we didn't talk about the fact that interferes with player agency. We can talk about whether it does or not. Here's
Play this scenario up for me again.
Can we talk about it without saying if we do or not?
Sure,
Because,
absolutely.
no, because I don't think
Okay.
that we can.
No, well, yeah, I can tell you what my take on it is, and why I think that's not where the line is, and that is okay. You all walk into a tavern in this little town What is it in this tavern that reminds you of home?
The guy behind the bar looks just like my next door neighbor.
Okay. The idea is that me telling you that you are having an emotion, you are perceiving
somehow.
perceiving this place in a specific way, rather than simply laying out, here's the place, here's the stuff in the place, and you doing the connect the dots between this place and your character's backstory to determine yourself whether that's the place. I'm sort of compelling you to have an opinion or an emotion about the place. But here's the thing. You change one word in my question to you, and it's not that at all. What about this tavern is reminiscent of your home? It has nothing to do with your character's emotions or your character's perception, but there's something here that I'm saying is reminiscent of your home or your childhood. What is that thing? Because that changing just that one word, not what is it that reminds you to what is it that is reminiscent, or what in here is you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just phrase it slightly differently. You get the exact same effect
without the baggage.
Without the baggage.
I would even say.
Let me just finish my thought here. So I don't know if that's where the line is, because that's a very thin line. I mean, and when you're talking about something like player agency, of the egregious player agency things that GMs can do, that's way over on the almost not.
I think it is not.
I think it is.
Well, go ahead.
After
Discuss.
I was just going to, you were holding a thought, so go. Please.
Yes, I've been holding a thought on this one all day long. I don't think that is playing, touching on player agency at all. I'm going to say something here which I'll probably get shit for on all sorts of forums.
I'm going to open my mouth later. You'll be fine.
Okay, awesome, good. As long as everyone forgets about what I'm going to say when he starts talking.
They will.
I firmly believe that you cannot have your agency taken away from you by anyone who you do not allow to take your agency away from you. That question, what about this reminds you of your home, can easily be answered with
Nothing.
nothing.
Exactly.
It reminds me of a crab shack in Louisiana.
Right.
That's snarky, though.
Crab.
But it's not, though. The GM is asking you, what about it reminds you of your home?
Hey, don't. Well, never mind. I'm not going to go
No,
there.
Gina, go ahead.
Please,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sometimes people have agency taken away from them and they don't allow it. So, but that isn't this, in my opinion.
I'd
so
like to
you
know
could
how.
take
Let her-
by me saying you see such and such, like when you make a perception check and the GM tells you not only do you see XYZ but how you feel about it. That's taking away my agency.
So why can you not say, no, I don't feel that about it? It's your character.
Well, no, absolutely. I can say no means no, and then it turns into a, hey, don't tell me how my character feels, because I've said that at the table before.
Yeah.
Where it's like a GM, and they're not trying to be a dick, I don't think. I think sometimes they just, in going forward and wanting to explain all the flavors of what your perception check may be accomplished, or your notice check, they go into territory that I would like to claim for my own. So absolutely, you can say no.
That's a very good point.
But that would be my point with this as well, is that you can tell me what in here feels like home, what in here reminds you of home, what in here is reminiscent of home, and I get to choose if that's vanilla, the color of the walls is the same as the one that I walk by every day. Or I can say the smell coming from the kitchen reminds me of my grandmother's something. So I can make that a stronger, more evocative, more personal thing. Or I can just say, yeah, it looks like every tavern I ever saw ever.
And I go to a lot of taverns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What? Okay. Because you've just bridged you and Tim's comment together, which is, at what point do you say, no, I want to claim this for my own? Where is that line Because you can easily block the guy. You can cock block him and say,
Sure.
no, but where's the line? Because
And just let me say, because Tom's mentioned this in improvisational storytelling,
Sure.
just like in theater
Sure.
improv, we should try to yes and,
sure,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
not block.
Sure,
Generally
and
speaking.
Stu's pointed out that it is a very fine line, but I completely agree with Stu. But I mean, I think maybe it's up to the player, even the situation where that line is.
I totally agree.
It's a moving
Yep.
goalpost. There's nothing quantitative about it. What I was going to say,
Yep.
which kind of leads into this, is when you ask something like that, and it's perfectly fine because I'm very guilty of this as a GM. I ask leading questions,
Right.
and it's actually a confidence man's trick. That's how
Oh, sure.
psychics work and such. They ask you a seemingly innocuous question that's
Yep.
front-loaded with a lot of information. For example, when you say things like, you've walked into a tavern, what about it reminds you of home? If you're not totally paying attention, you start saying stuff, and now the GM has all this information about what your home is like.
Yep.
Right? Now, that's maybe not what he was mining for, but that info is there now. All of a sudden. It is a very leading question. But I don't think that takes away your player agency unless you are really, really paranoid and scared about giving away personal information or even leading questions. It's a tool. It's supposed to be a tool to help define a scene that allows your character to give your input into it. And I don't think the phrasing and parsing it down to phrasing is doing everybody a disservice.
Well, my point with that is that you can phrase that question. I could say, what about this tavern is similar to something in your home? That's not taking away any agency whatsoever. So just slightly rephrasing the question.
Or is there anything about this tavern? Is that what you said?
No, I said what?
What
No,
is?
no. I'm having you contribute to the narrative.
All right.
What about this tavern?
Which
is similar to something?
I think should be 100% applauded. I think any time that there is more collaborative, effort made to either describe a situation or a scenario or a person, I think that's awesome. But to Tim's point, I do think like if there is something going on in your head where you feel like, I don't know, you had a stake in a certain element of how this was and you don't want it to interrupt what that was for your character, then you can totally say, well, how about if I say this, or I don't think there is. So, because there should be a give and take.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. But I think it's awesome to ask.
Now, getting back to sort of the broader question of taking away player agency. When should the GM dictate how a character feels, if ever?
I've done it. I've done it in freak shows where the psychic opened her mind up to the mental hospital and was overwhelmed. She made a roll. I said, make a roll, and she made a bad roll. And I said, you are completely overwhelmed. And I told her what happens to her at that point.
The feelings that she's empathic.
Yes.
Right.
And is that taking away player agency? Because I told her she's completely overwhelmed. You are hearing voices from every person that's been murdered and died in this place, and they're all pleading at you, and you're useless. And next, and is that wrong? Do I feel bad? I don't think the people that played it felt gypped, but it was definitely me telling them. Now again, I run one shots, and it's a thing, and it moved forward. So perhaps in a long running game, or a player or a character that they had created on their own, they might feel completely pissed. It's maybe a different set of circumstances. Again, it's a moving goalpost.
I think if there's some sort of supernatural effect going on, where your big bad is
Like a spell.
A or something like that, then it's okay to tell people how they feel, assuming that all the proper game mechanics have been followed, and you're not just going, you don't like this because whatever.
Fear mechanics.
I'm fear
What
mechanics.
about that sanity mechanics?
I had a very, 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 very long conversation with Kazay about this.
It's a lot of fairies.
I know, it was a very long conversation. Very, very. And what I was trying to get across with a sanity mechanic is that if your sanity mechanic is dealing with, like, He was saying that because of our society, a sanity mechanic doesn't make sense anymore. Because, like, in Call of Cthulhu rules, you lose a d6 of sanity when you see a zombie. Us today, we've seen so many damn zombies on TV. We've seen, now I know.
That's not the same.
That's not the same.
Watching a gunfight on TV is not the same as being in a gunfight.
You lose a D4 sanity for seeing a corpse.
Right.
Okay. I used to work at an anatomy lab, a school with an anatomy lab. I've seen corpses. I didn't. But my point is, when you're dealing with...
That explains a lot, though.
Thank you. When you're dealing
Why'd
with...
they fire you?
I left. Actually, no. You know what? That was the college I used to work at. They outsourced IT. My point, and I'll try to make it short, is when you're dealing with a cosmic horror that is causing you a sanity loss because it is completely indescribable.
Indescribably horrible.
Indescribably horrible. You're
Lovecraftianly
type stuff, yeah,
terrible.
where
Non-Euclidean geometry.
right, where you can't possibly, as a player, say how your character would react because we have no basis in our reality to say this is how I would react in that situation. Then,
well, we also have no idea what we would do if we saw an Etten. So
It's absolutely true. We have no idea what we would
I mean,
do.
yeah,
if we
I mean that's
were in a
why we're
gunfight.
role playing.
And there might be historical precedences that are similar. The first time Native Americans saw a Gatling gun work.
Yeah.
true.
That's got to
Or
seem
even normal
otherworldly.
Americans.
Right.
It wasn't like it was like, broadcasting people could build in their house.
but
It was fucking voodoo. It mowed people down.
The first
yeah.
time someone saw an atomic bomb go off.
Or television.
Yeah.
I mean, we unleash horrors, and then we eventually become accustomed to them.
Yes.
But the Native Americans had seen guns before. They'd been
That's
shot
true,
by
sure.
them. We'd seen
Well,
bombs explode
at
before.
some
These were
point.
just bigger versions of this. What
That's
I'm saying
true,
is,
that's true.
when you're dealing with something like Cthulhu rising out of the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think your brain unhinges in a way that we can't identify with today. And I think in those situations, yeah, I think the GM should step in and maybe do a little bit of you're shitting yourself or whatever. Like
That's a good
said a
point.
moment
Oh
ago.
my God.
That is a good point. I was
Warhammer
going to start
Fantasy.
arguing the whole
Well,
thing about Sanity Clause.
let me tell you,
The game that was built on people shitting
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
Warhammer Fantasy.
Well said.
Yeah.
I think the way I've played a loss of sanity in Call of Cthulhu is instead of telling the player this is what you think, I will write down on a piece of paper, here's what you see. And I will simply change their reality
Yeah.
Okay,
and
sure.
say the people around you aren't acting normal. Their eyes seem to be glossed over. They're staring at you funny. They don't seem to be scared of that horrific thing that just walked into the room. Maybe they're, and then and I'll write something. Maybe they're in cahoots with it? Question mark. And let them give the player because when you go insane, your
Yeah, I
think-
perception
yeah.
of reality breaks.
Yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah.
I feel the need to actually debunk the whole sanity whole thing anyway. First of all, can I just say this so we can get it out of the way because it sort of feels like an elephant in the room for me. The whole sanity role thing is a way to mimic H.P. Lovecraft's vibe and
Yes.
feel, and it also mimics or explains why people in horror films are stupid.
Exactly, right.
I thought about
it's
that,
a
but yeah.
mechanic that's supposed to heighten the tension and make you less effective in when things go
That's-
sideways. That's all it is. And,
I-
the fact that we're trying to justify that mechanic for an archaic horror film or is kind of lame. But we can do our best at it. But I don't think that's really the point. The point is still that we're still dictating, or at what point when we're dictating to somebody.
Oh, so I think it is the point. I think it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
go
I
ahead.
do too. I think what you guys have all been saying is totally valid, and that is that if there is a mechanical effect that needs to be addressed, that's going to come in the form of some narration, whether it's you're playing Call of Cthulhu and you fail a sanity check, or whether you're playing Monster Hearts and you roll to turn someone on and that person doesn't want to be turned on, but they are. That the mechanics take control of the situation, and there may or may not, depending on the system, or probably more the system than anything, there needs to be narration or some sort of effect to what's going on in game, but that there is always still leeway for that person to say, well, could I do this? Like, oh, so I'm going to do this. Unless, like, you're playing D&D and you get a fear thing and it says you have to either you run as long as you can for way too many turns or whatever it is,
Right.
and then you are totally out of the combat. Or in Warhammer Fantasy, where it says you either shit your pants or you cower in a corner or something. So there is still some interpretation for the player, but I think it just depends on the system.
I believe that's called a panic poo.
Panickers.
What were you going to say, Stu?
I think it kind of. I'm trying to remember.
Mechanics, Call of Cthulhu, Sanity Roll. It's a mechanic that basically
It is okay. Yeah, it is the point, because if I were to, if you fail your sanity roll, and I say to you, okay, your character is now insane, and you're really scared of the thing you see in front of you, I'm telling the player what he's feeling, and I don't. And generally, I'm again it. However, if I bend reality, from the player's perception and say, here's what you see. What you see may not be real, but that's what you're seeing. Because I get to control that as the GM. I get to tell you what your character's perceiving, right? I can't tell you what you feel, but I can say, oh, this is the things Gina's character's acting real screwy right now, and she's not acting as afraid as she probably should. And you kind of, I don't know.
But you can sometimes tell them in some sense how they feel. Like, your big bad dominates someone. Your big bad charm persons.
Yeah, it's real specific.
It is, but it happens. You can't not...
Psionics or things like,
I realize that when you're saying that, I'm sorry, Stu.
No, that's fair.
I gotta get this out of my head before I forget about it.
That's
Tim.
I'm Tim.
To Stu.
Both Bob.
I realize now that I have been egregious, I think, in telling people what they're feeling and what they're doing, and I probably have influenced player agency more than I should have, simply because the mechanics have told me to.
And see, here, that's my question.
And they do.
That's my question.
Often they do.
Can a player fall back on your taking my agency away when they willingly sign up to play a game like Call of Cthulhu that has a mechanic that does that, or like D&D that has a fear spell and a charm spell?
Or if they pick the character that's an empath.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that I was driven crazy by all the voices I couldn't control.
Right.
Yeah. At some point, you have to say, well, that's the game you signed up to play.
I think that's true. I think I can only think of one time in memory where I've I don't know, I guess posed an alternative where I think I got charmed and the GM told me how I felt about something, and I totally got that. It's like, no, I got charmed. This is going to happen, but so to your point earlier, Tim, there is nothing wrong with me saying, hey, how about if the flavor of that looks more like this?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And they can say, no, I don't think that cuts it. Or they can say, yeah, it's totally cool. Because at some point you have to just kind of own the mechanical aspect of what's going on.
Right.
But I still have agency as a player where I can say, hey, I kind of see this more like this with my character. Is that okay?
It does beg the question: how do you handle what are the nuances and what line? Where is that line? I mean, maybe that's the crux of this. It brings us back to where the question is. That it's a really fine line. If the mechanics dictate, or if there's a game with mechanics like that dictate how you're going to feel, the GM has to then impose what's happening. Where's that line for you? It's really granular to me, and it's an ever shifting situation.
That's why I've always said I like the fear mechanics in 4th edition L5R.
Okay.
Because the fear mechanics in 4th ed
Mm-hmm.
L5R, you fail a roll, there's some mathing that happens, and depending on how much you failed the roll, you get a negative to all of your dice rolls.
Oh, you've mentioned. Okay, yeah, you've said that before. Yeah, yeah.
And once you get to a certain point, you're at -5 or -6 dice. I don't remember the numbers. It's been a long time since I played it. But you get to a certain point. As a player, you're going to look at your character and say, my character has suffered so much from these fear checks now, I've become combat ineffective. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
So it's going to cause the same effect. in a metagame sense between the player and his character looking at the modification that the fear rules have caused, and it's going to cause a similar narrative effect as would happen in a situation where someone got so freaking scared they just decided, fuck this, I'm out.
I could see that mechanic also
I
working
like that
well.
a lot better.
I could see that also
You're
working
right.
well in like a World War II game or a Vietnam game or a game where combat is
Where
very
there's
prevalent,
combat morale.
Where you've got
Right.
the combat morale and the you get so much combat and so much killing that you're like, I can't take this
To me-
anymore. I'm going
oh, for
AWOL.
sure. To
Yeah.
me, that's the most elegant
Yeah.
freaking system ever, when the system supports like what you would be doing narratively with your character.
Right.
Like, it makes it harder to be successful because of XYZ. It makes it harder to function or charm people or whatever it is.
You know
I
what?
just think that's so smart.
Fuck that. Now all of a sudden the burden is off the GM and it's on the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
fuck
see, I
that.
like that.
I'm going to fail every
he
time.
can't play that system.
Can't do that.
I also
he just his
I want
character
to
would be
narrate my
insane
way
the whole
out of
time.
situations. I don't want to actually have to roll for this shit.
No, I love when you are playing something for the first time and not realizing that that's what the system is going to do.
Yeah.
And then you realize that the system is supporting what the action and the emotion should be, and it's like so awesome.
It's understandable when the mechanic forces you down that path, and then it's all okay. If the GM forces you down that path, it's another thing.
I was going to say, I also think we have to assume good intent. And
Agreed.
Yeah.
that people cannot. When have we? Who hasn't said something that if they had a do-over, they would have said a little
Right.
bit better?
Right.
So
All the time.
Yeah, and I think to Tim's point earlier, I think we have to take a responsibility and accountability for our own, table presence also. So if something really does. It doesn't even have to really bug you if you have a counter that doesn't change the rules. Like, if you fail a dice roll, you fail a dice roll. If they, cast a spell on you, they cast a spell on you.
Right.
But if you have a counter to that, offer it, and then
You should also be comfortable enough to say, I'm not sure this is working for me, or however you want to say it. Or you could even be blatant. No, my character wouldn't do that, and then be comfortable enough to have a discussion where that could work out. Whether the GM phrased it wrong, or somebody's feelings got hurt, or somebody else had another agenda. Whatever it is, that discussion you should be comfortable to have that.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be turned into a table flip moment.
Yeah.
It should be a quick little. I think give me a little more agency. Oh, okay. Do you have another thought or whatever that is? Because I could see how people can. There might be triggers, there might be stuff, and they or maybe they had an agenda. But I think as a GM, you also need to be able to be aware of that. Like, maybe I phrased that wrong.
We should come up with another word for it.
Well, see, I also think that there are GMs out there, I don't know how many, but I'm almost certain there are GMs out there who've never heard of the phrase player agency.
Well,
Yeah.
And would
sure,
scoff
yeah.
at the concept.
Yes.
I think we should come up with
Yes.
another word for it. I think
For
we've
what?
used agency. I think we've used agency like 8,000 times in the first 10 minutes of the show.
Right.
Well, because that's what this is about.
We have a visitor.
it's a slippery slope, but I think it's an important thing.
That's awesome.
Hello, purple
Okay.
and pink.
It's a slippery slope, but
Hi,
I think
purple and
it's an
pink.
important thing to know that the GM is on your side, and perhaps what they
If the
said,
GM is on your
If
side.
if the GM is on your okay.
Because there are.
In an ideal world, the
There are
GM's on your side.
dickhead GMs
I was just
Let
going to say
me
there are
finish my
dickheads.
thought, and let's not go down that rabbit hole. Yes, there are many, but my point
let's.
is that perhaps they misspoke. Perhaps
Yeah.
I was trying to follow up on yours,
Yeah.
which is
Assume good intent. Yeah.
Their intentions are good.
Uh,
They're not meaning to steal your player agency. What they're trying to do is drive the story forward and move on.
Sure.
And they're not. And perhaps they could have phrased it better. But please don't take umbrage if perhaps they didn't use the correct verbiage in a sentence and made you feel bad. I think
Yeah.
that's on you as a player and not on the GM. You have to look at the big scope of the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and what's the continuing trend of this GM?
And we do all know, to Stu's point, because I think you were the same place as me,
Yeah.
where there are, unfortunately,
are.
those people out there.
And there are.
Yeah, but
That's a different discussion.
hopefully you only play with them if you're okay with playing with them.
That's
So,
a whole
yeah,
different,
exactly.
different discussion, yeah.
Yup.
What is with the... there's people are putting D20s on the thing. What are you guys doing?
I think they're all
Are you
subscribing
flooding?
again.
Oh, the chat room's been on fire. First off, Tyler's
Really?
in there, and
I think
And
Dave
Tones.
Kazay is in there.
Oh,
I
they're
see
all stirring the
Tyler
pot.
and Tones and Kazay's in
and they're
there.
texting me.
It's romper room.
They're texting me.
they are texting you.
They're texting me stuff.
Oh,
Because they said she's texting me. He can use the phone right now because someone said, "Hey Tim, don't use the phone during class."
Texting?
Yeah, that's
Now
because
I'm
Tyler
jealous.
and they were texting me stuff too. So
Aw, I don't have a text.
That's hysterical.
Now
I
I feel
set up
left out.
I set up a Slack.
We just got rated by another channel. That's what happened. Okay, well, welcome all of you people.
Hi.
Virtual Revolution
We're
and
super entertaining.
Jamayath and Joe Visitor and
You just missed
Virtual
our whole
Revolution.
discussion
and
about
Sergeant
player
Turtle
agency.
80.
Yeah, you just missed a really good discussion,
Or not.
or not, depending.
I just almost said my
this is
phone
Happy
number so I
Jack,
could get a
so,
text because I felt so left out, and then I was like, "That's probably not a good idea."
Probably not.
Not
Probably
a good
not.
idea.
You can call me. My number is 562-999-9999.
999. It's very German.
999-9999.
What was the number when you were a kid? Like you used to call for information or time?
555-1212.
555
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank
Does that
you.
still work?
Probably.
Check it out.
I'm gonna text Tyler.
This
So-
is the texting episode.
I gotta say, Stu, because of
Yeah,
that
I'm so
comment, I'm
excited.
gonna have to modify the way I say stuff like that. Maybe with one shots it isn't
Do
such
your
a big
best.
deal, but I have definitely told people how they feel or what they're feeling, in maybe a more egregious way than I was.
And it doesn't. I mean, the sort of leading them with perception.
Sure.
Doesn't always work.
No.
But I mean, like, for an example, and I think that we did it. I think we may have recorded this when we did it. I don't know if we were recording APs then, but I ran a
We'll
play
see if
test
it's right.
of a Call of Cthulhu game that I ran at the con, and Elsbeth's character like totally just completely went up on a sanity roll. And so that's when I wrote the note, and I'm like, "This is what you see," and she's like, "Okay, I'm shooting so and so," and she like totally bought into it, and she's like, "No, this is the GM said these are the things I'm seeing. I'm seeing these things."
Wait, did I do
And that was the game where afterwards half of the players said, if I was really playing my character, I'd have bailed like
Exactly
20
right.
minutes in. I'd
Right.
just been out of there. I'd be like, nope.
Well,
I would have, as they say, noped the F out.
And that's
Right.
the thing about Call of Cthulhu. Any reasonable person, it's like, what are we doing here? Let's get the F out, and
Right.
we'd leave. And you even were like, the trains aren't running all of a sudden.
yeah, right? Talk about taking agency away. No, you can't leave. Sorry.
Because the game.
I
is
did.
designed
I
that
That's
way.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever monster was going around bent the railroad tracks.
Right,
So they,
but you
the train
quickly had to
couldn't
think that
leave.
because why would
They're
any
like-
reasonable person be hanging around here?
We gone.
Good
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Well, have you ever seen?
And that's totally railroading. Literally, because it was a railroad track and I bent it.
Have you ever seen? I think it's
It's
called.
Tomes and I.
Oh, that's
It
right.
was. It was the first time I ever got to play with Tomes, and we tried to get Gitfo from Cthulhu Dodge,
Right.
and you went, "Nope."
We did it with Elspeth as well.
Have you ever?
Well, that was a play test.
Yeah.
That was a
Oh,
play test
the
of
same
that
game.
same game, yeah.
Have you guys ever seen Cabin in the Woods? I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it. I know
Where they try and leave and they can't because there's
Yeah.
a big force field there.
Yeah.
All right.
Dark City.
Have we beat this dead horse enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, the chat room was on fire. There was a big support session for you.
Yay! Thank you guys.
Really?
That's awesome. We have a chat. I set up a Slack, right? And like Tyler's on it and Dave's on it, and a whole bunch of people, Dave, and a whole bunch of people, a bunch of listeners that I game with on my Saturday night
Right.
games. And we all literally just sit around and bullshit all day
Yeah,
long. Right?
Lokio says we support Tim.
Yay! Lokio's in it too.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Tyler
man.
said, I said, hey, I'm on the show
You
tonight.
got an army out
I know.
there.
I know. I'm awesome. But
Or you have a support group because
No, hold on.
you
Listen,
need
listen.
help.
I didn't really just
Tyler,
snort.
I mentioned I was going to be on the show tonight, and Tyler said, I'm going to go in the chat room just to fuck with Tim. And I was like, why is it never, I'm going to go in the chat room and support my really good friend Tim? So they're supporting me. Love you guys.
I think he was the one that started it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
he started the support fest.
Love you guys.
That's
Oh, and CA Dave just showed up. And
Dave.
Arson Crafts.
Dave will
Vampire
text
54.
me.
Hi,
Won't you,
Tones.
Dave?
Zazamon.
Text me.
He also gave you a yay, Tim.
Oh man, this is like The Voice or like what's that other pop culture thing I don't know about what they sing
America's
in.
Got Talent. All
Yeah,
that,
or something like that. Or, I don't know, the one with the guy that always said dog and J-Lo
American
and stuff.
Idol?
Yeah, that one. I don't watch that.
I don't watch
This is
reality
like
TV.
text 999-562 for if you like Tim. Text. Yeah.
I'm getting votes.
Yeah.
I get to stay on the show.
You got thumbs ups?
I got thumbs up.
Yeah.
I'm not being voted off.
I'm gonna solicit votes. Because that's how this works.
So, what games happened in the last week? Oh, 2 days ago, you guys played
Yep.
the Spaniards Ghost.
Yes. And unfortunately, I was gone for a month, which is unusual for me because usually I never miss sessions.
Right.
So it was super helpful having APs to listen to so that I could keep up
Isn't that cool?
with my compatriots.
It's like
Yeah.
just somebody's taking better notes than
Yeah.
you are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and then I had to give the recap, and I was like, oh, I'm on this. 'Cause,
I got this.
yeah, exactly.
I'll play.
Arts and Crafts, I support Gina, Master Vita. I'm a Gina supporter too.
Yay.
Thank you.
By the way, I love the name Arson
I
Crafts.
did like
It's everything with fire. That's awesome. Arson Crafts. That's very
Right?
funny. I don't want to know the condition you were in when you came up with that name. I'm sure you were hammered.
Arson Crafts. That's
No, it's
awesome.
Arson, isn't it? Like
Oh,
fire.
I
It is
thought it was
Arson Crafts.
arse. Like,
Arson.
That's even
Booze.
funnier. It's very, it's very continental. There. Arson
Yeah.
Crafts.
Right.
so it was a lot of fun, but what was interesting for me about that game is that you know how it takes you a few sessions to really get into your character?
Absolutely.
So,
Sometimes a year.
yeah, no, I only had that happen once, but that was really rough when I could not find a character. But so everybody else was like 2 sessions ahead of me with regard to that, and I felt like I was still doing that cat needing thing where I was like, who is this person?
That's an
You
oddly
know.
specific reference, but I get it.
That's how you thought I was going.
Kind of, it's like
What is my
that.
character like?
Yeah, it's like need, exactly. That's what I always say, where like you're needing and you got to get comfortable.
Oh, it
But-
takes me several sessions.
Yeah,
Although I have to say, I have a pretty firm grasp on who my character is in the vampire game.
me too. So we can move into that. So I had a lot of fun with Spaniard's Ghost, but I realized I felt like I was left behind. I wasn't super happy with my sort of grasp of the character. But the same thing, first session of Vampire, and that character just
This is Vampire
Came-
the Dark Ages.
yes,
Hollowed
Hollowed Plains.
Plains.
Yeah,
I
because
keep
we had to
saying
change the
fields.
name.
Right.
Yeah. But the same thing where all of a sudden you sit down at the table, and this was a conversation I had off mic with Kurt, but I had gotten much more used to in my more seasoned 4 or 5 years of role playing, not having the character 100% fleshed out when I sat at the table, but Vampire is a little different. So and obviously, I was gone for a while for personal reasons. And so I'm like, who embraced me? What year was I embraced? Da, da, da. Like that wasn't all necessarily solidified where it
And
kind
that
of,
stuff's important.
It is
Because they
important.
may not
Yeah.
be actually gone.
yeah, because my character was 100%
All of our
mechanically
SARS are still
done.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's the burden of being immortal.
that was the crazy thing to me is that sitting down at the table though, all of a sudden I was like, oh, who is this person? And I guess that's who she is. So you had the same
Yeah.
experience?
Well, I'm playing a gangrel who's on the path of.
Gregarious. You're a talker.
It's a humanity.
I totally
path.
know which
He's
one
on
it
the path
is. Now I
to the
can't think
garden.
either.
This is
The
not
path through
of
the
blood.
woods.
No.
Path of breath.
Okay.
Path of breath. Which basically, I'm a gangrel who can't be a loner. I have to seek out companionship.
Interesting.
Awesome.
That's the way I maintain my connection with humanity is to be around other
He's
people.
Greek or the gregarious gangle.
That's a dichotomy.
Grigor, the gregarious gangrel, yes.
He is. Oh yeah, you were in the chat room.
And he's Scottish.
He is.
It's
Oh,
gangle.
gangrels and both
Look at
speak
guys, gangle.
And I am a Samisi path of metamorphosis, I think it is.
Of course.
And yeah, and so I
She's
have
gonna
Zulo,
turn into a giant cockroach.
Yeah, no, I do horrible things
of
on
course you do.
the battlefield. But my character was all about the being kind of entitled, imperious nobility, Samisi, and because of her mortal existence. So that was more what I played than this sort of monster. I mean, the concept is Mother of Monsters.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun.
Between
with that
L5R
character.
and Vampire, I've never spent more time researching history and shit.
Oh my
than I
gosh.
ever have. I mean, it's like,
ADT.
if I roll up a paladin in D&D, I'm ready to go. But I swear to God, if you play a vampire game or you play an L5R game, you're spending weeks researching shit.
It's true.
And in fact, as the character goes, as the game goes, you're still looking stuff up. It's an amazing journey and an amazing learning experience. But that game is, you can't just roll up a character and start playing. You really can't.
No.
Well, you can, then you wind up with Scully.
Love you.
Gregor, the gregarious Gaelic gangrel from Glasgow.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
So I didn't play in any games. However, I have a super secret project in the works that involves Moment of Truth, which I'm not going to talk about right now.
Wait, what?
Yes, I do.
Oh, there's all kinds of irons in the fire now.
Yeah.
Now that the rules are settled
Doing a
and,
Moment of Truth thing.
and it's laid out. It's laid out.
But
I want to do a moment.
I'm also what I'm.
That's awesome.
Okay, I'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
What I'm also really excited about is this Sunday, 2 days from now.
Sunday.
Days. Dave Kazay is running it's a gumshoe derivative system, which I can't remember the name of.
Bubblegum shoe?
No, it's
No, there's bubblegum shoe.
It is. But it's
but it's
genius
not.
that
We were talking about running
I didn't
Cthulhu and
make it
horror
up.
games, and he said, "I will run a horror game for you guys." And I was like, "Awesome, do it." So he's running a horror game.
There is a
I forget what it's called. If he's in the
Trail
chat
of
room,
Cthulhu.
No, it's dark something. I think if he's in the chat room, maybe he can
is.
Yeah,
pop it up.
I know there's a gumshoe I have it. There's a gumshoe version of Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's not that.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
By the way.
But I'm really looking forward to that. That starts this Sunday, and I think we're going to be doing it monthly.
Okay.
But I have to drive my ass to Santa Monica for that. So.
Monthly.
That's about as far as. That's like the
Really?
opposite end of the world for you. You were
totally-
like one end of LA.
Yeah, and
he's on
he's
the
on the
other
other
end.
end,
That's
yeah.
like a
Gumshoe is
45 mile
Trails
run.
of Cthulhu.
No, but it's a
No,
gumshoe
it's something
like system. Or
No, what's
influence.
the Savage Worlds one? Isn't that? I thought that was Trails of Cthulhu.
No, Trails of Cthulhu is the Robin D. Laws one. The Realms of Cthulhu.
Realms of
Yeah.
Cthulhu. That's the other one. Yeah, I can never remember. Trails.
I played in Mac's werewolf game.
Oh yeah, you guessed it, huh?
I guessed it. I actually had time off last week, and I had a lot of fun. I actually was watching you follow up these things, and I was drunk, and I texted Mac and said, "I have a great idea for a character," and she says, "I'm in. I'm good. That's cool. Let's work this in." I said, "The only time I can do it is this point," and she worked me in, and we're both of us. Me being who I am, I'm like, I need to have my character. I need to make sure I have my stats because combat might happen. And she's like, here's some stuff. Just it'll be fine. I'm like, no, but I need this. I need this, and it's fine. Mac runs a great game. She's fun. She's funny. She knew exactly what I needed to run this game. And in the end, she was right. I really didn't need that much. I had a great time. I'm not going to say what happens because I'm not sure it's posted yet. But it was a lot of fun.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it went up this week or it's going.
But if you're not watching Razor Ridge, watch Razor Ridge. There's freaking werewolves, man.
Yeah.
In the Old West.
Fear Itself. That's the game.
Yes, Fear Itself. That's it.
I just got a text that said that. Wanted, and I'm supposed to tell you via text.
Oh dear God.
I
Is
know.
It from Dave? This is gonna be fun.
No, this one is
Lokio and also someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, several people.
Tyler just said, "Glad you're back. If it had been just Tim on tonight, I'd have bailed a half an hour ago." Tell him I said that.
Tyler, that's your friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love that.
At some point, I'm going to sit down for a stream and take a shot every time you fuckers say agency.
We're done. We're done.
I
You
know,
should have done.
but they're true.
I
It's
think
true.
Tyler's kind of a professional asshole.
Thank
Didn't you used to get paid to harass people?
Yes,
Tyler?
he did.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
did?
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to do a Don Rickles LARP.
Oh my
More than
god!
that, but I think his job was
He got fired because he's too tall.
I saw Don Rickles once.
Don Rickles LARP.
So
If Tyler can be as
miserable.
clever as Don Rickles, I mean,
Oh, he's
Oh my God.
you're not.
not
Tyler-
even one
no
quarter.
Don Rickles.
Not even one quarter.
No.
Tyler
Not even.
is a million times funnier than Don Rickles.
No, that's not. Don't.
Oh my god!
Don't
I
tell
saw
him that.
No, it's true.
He doesn't,
You are.
God.
he doesn't need.
I can hear his head expanding from here.
Yeah.
No, Don Rickles. Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll hear
I
all
don't
about
know.
this on
That
this
was
line.
in a.
And Tyler really
that's a
fucked
time
up when he
capsule.
moved.
Yeah.
Should have stayed.
No,
Yeah,
life.
you totally should have stayed.
Okay, I know, but fuck life.
Yeah. No, don't.
I was going
He
to
got
say,
a
dude,
wife,
that's low. That's life.
awesome,
That's stuff.
and he has an awesome job.
You follow
and
your
wife
hottie
has
wife
an
who has a
awesome
great job. Come on.
No, he's
So
doing really well up there.
Tyler
But-
says, "I love you, Gina, but you're wrong."
About what? Rickles?
I don't know. I don't know.
Rickles probably.
That's-
No, seriously, have you ever seen him live? Have you know that feeling when you're embarrassed for somebody, like, but you're way more embarrassed for them than they are for themselves? That was me watching Don Rickles.
I'm pretty sure that everybody who watches this show feels that about me because I'm pretty
Dude,
sure
you stole my joke, man.
that that's my life.
You stole my joke. Sorry.
Oh, you
Go
were
ahead,
wrong
you
about
tell it.
Rickles. She said,
yeah, that's what I
it's
thought.
okay. It's
I don't
out
know.
the
It was
bag now.
really uncomfortable because he's still doing the same humor. I guess he was doing, when it was okay to do that kind of humor.
He's just.
It was just like,
Well, he's got to be in his 90s now, right?
I think he's still alive. He's as old as plate tectonics, and the guy is really
Old as plate
The
tectonics.
guys, I mean, seriously.
He's hilarious in
But here's the
movies.
thing about his humor is that it's dangerous humor. The guy used to have to escape through back doors and stuff back in his youth. He's like the seat of sarcasm.
he was like the Lenny Bruce of the 50s.
Oh, he died April
There you
6,
go.
2017.
Yeah.
Oh.
Born in 1926.
But
Whoa.
but remember, this guy's a Navy guy. I mean, he
Yeah.
saw horrors and stuff, and so his humor is all like, yeah. And You Hockey Puck was mild compared to what his actual stand-up was like. I mean, it was blue,
No, it was.
and his life was Anyway, he always scared me as a kid, and only
Don
later when I
Rickles?
got to be because he was just
Yeah.
mean. And
Yeah.
You'd see him in movies, you'd see him in shows, and he was just mean. I didn't get it. You see him on the Mike Douglas show, and you're like,
Yep.
this guy's an asshole. And then I realized later, when you become old and bitter like I am, I'm like, that guy's a fucking genius.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chat room is killing me.
They're so funny.
Navy guys see lots of whores.
Yes.
That was Arson Crafts. All right.
Arson Crafts, dude, awesome. A pun
know.
master, obviously, with his name. Arson
I know.
Crafts. Yes.
He
don't
couldn't
know who
have
you
died
are,
in
but that's
April. It's still
amazing.
January. 2017, Tyler, not
17.
2018.
Oh, actually, Tyler, if you were paying attention.
Did I say 2018? Because I meant 2017.
I totally would have wanted him to be my friend, though. Like, he's one of
Don
those
Rickles?
old timers. Yeah. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
always want all those old school people to be my friend.
Yeah. Have you
Tim
ever seen?
Conway.
Well,
Tim
yeah.
Conway. I met Tim Conway, and
Yeah.
it's the only time
You geeked out.
Well, yeah. When you work on shows, it's rude to lose your shit in front of the people. I lost my shit. It's fucking Tim Conway.
Of
Right?
course.
What would you do? And he
Yep.
was very cool, but I was like, yeah.
Did you shit your pants or cower in the corner?
I was trying to be clever, and he
Okay.
He
out-clevered
rolled
me.
2d6.
Of course he did.
And then he
Yeah.
got a 10 to 12,
Exactly.
so he got to geek out.
I rolled a 1, and he rolled a
Isn't
20, and he
that
was.
a percentile system? Mostly. Yeah.
There's a series about stand-up comics, and it's kind of about the Comedy Store.
Really?
That's what's his name's mother, right?
Yeah.
Pauly Shore.
Yep.
Pauly Shore.
Ritzy Shore.
Yes.
What's her name? Mitzi Shore.
Mitzi
Shore.
and-
Yes,
Mitzi.
yeah.
Mitzi Shore is the mother. Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
It's kind of about her. It's not her.
Pauly Shore isn't famous because he's funny. He's famous because he was.
His mother owned the Comedy Store.
It
Comedy
was,
Store.
it
Yeah.
was on MTV.
You didn't know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That-
That's
doesn't that
why he
explain-
got a movie.
Doesn't that explain Pauly Shore?
It totally does. Holy crap.
Right. Hey, buddy.
But
buddy.
got some killer nuts chilling with the whistle boy. Ooh.
Now, but there's a series. I think it's called "I'm
That's
Dying Up Here"
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
It's
seen
just
it?
out. It's out right now.
on Hulu.
I've just heard
or
about
is
it.
it on Netflix? I don't remember what it's
Pete
on.
Holmes, I think, is the guy who's it's about.
It
But
is-
It's about a starving comic trying to make it.
And it's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of an ensemble cast. And
Sarah Silverman's in it.
them, no, Sarah Silverman's not in it. It hasn't had anyone I recognize. It's all young actors.
Dying up here. Okay.
Are
Never
you-
mind.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong
Maybe.
name. But it's about sort of the Comedy Store and the comics around it. But they get together in the bar afterwards, and they are fucking busting each other's nuts left and right. And the mental quickness of these people is
Yeah.
freaking staggering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dorothy Parker used to hang around the Algonquin Round Table, and it was all about quips and being clever and
Yes.
who could out clever and who could out quip the next person. I think that when you get, and the Boggers do it too.
Right.
I think when you
Not
get a
like
bunch
this.
of clever people. Listen, when
Oh my
Johnny
God.
shows up and John shows up
Right.
and Bill shows up and you're there and I'm there.
You know what's the Algonquin
It happens.
round table now? Is fucking Twitter. No, there are some funny
Because trolls show
funny
up.
no, but there still are
block
some
them.
way funny, not famous people on Twitter that
I think it's
I
one
just
thing.
think they're so bright.
I think it's one thing to be
Oh,
able
yeah,
to,
a lot of
take
them,
your
yeah.
time
Yeah.
and craft
Yeah.
a
And trolls.
reply. It's another thing to be on
That fast.
Yeah.
I know.
that fast.
That's true.
It's a skill. I've seen Bill do it. I've seen
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
do it, and
Yep.
and sometimes you just sit back and go, "Whoa!"
Yeah, Tyler's
bet-
like that. Bill's like that. Yeah.
They blow you away, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm completely outclassed. Don't even know why I'm standing here.
It's not Minding the Store. That's not the name. The Aristocrats. No.
Oh, that's what I thought it was. Is that
I think it's
because
called I'm Dying Up Here or something like that.
Because the Aristocrats has that. What's the joke that everybody tells at the end? And Saget's got like the bluest
Were they gr-
version
were
of
they-
it.
Well, everybody
of
has
all
a
times.
different. The setup is always different, but
Yeah.
the ending, the punchline is, "We're
Yeah.
the aristocrats."
Right.
Yeah,
Well, we actually have emails.
It's a terrible Shaggy Dog story.
I know.
It
All
is.
right.
That was
It is.
fascinating.
Playing without a GM from James in New Jersey. Howdy, Stu and the Jackalopes. It's James from Nj.
Ninja.
I'm on the forum and Discord, but haven't posted much. I'm writing to share a tool with you that can be used to help out the GM or even replace it altogether.
Damn those words.
The Mythic GM
I don't know about you, but my GM's a tool to begin with. So.
The Mythic GM emulator, along with other tools developed by WordMill Games, wordmillgames.com.
Is this a long advertisement?
It might be. Can be used to answer all sorts of questions that the players would normally ask the GM. The system, the systems in the books can help. I've heard of Mythic. And I can't remember where. To take the story in a new and unexpected direction. I am one of the GMs that would probably rather be playing but GM out of a desire to explore new worlds with my players, and these tools can help me discover them alongside my players. I even successfully used this in combination with FFG Star Wars game to play entirely with the laptop as our GM. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it is.
But I like GMing. It worked.
Right? If you didn't GM, you'd never meet people.
That's fair cop.
Well, I do go to work.
Okay.
It works by using a lot of tables.
No.
And I also commute, and I'm surrounded by millions of people in
That's
other
right,
cars.
every single day.
You're witty.
However, there are a number of online and app implementations of the system that take out a lot of the lookups and can drastically speed up play. I created one of these I created one that integrates into Google Docs called Solo Roleplay Tools. There's a bit.ly reference there. I'll put that in the show notes if I remember. Or either that or ask me on the forum and I'll put it on the forum. That includes a few different tools from both WordMill Games and others. However, just recently, she has released a brand new book called Mythic Variations 2 that really streamlines a lot of the rules and makes the system much easier to run at the table, and it includes rules to help determine NPC actions as well. I haven't tried to play with the new rules yet, but the book includes lots of examples on how to use the system. Good gaming, and thanks for the consistently good content. P.S. I stole the Bonds history connections from Powered by the Apocalypse for my Pokemon game, and my players loved it, and it made for an enjoyable Session 0 with immediate connections between all of the
Yep.
PCs, which really helped jumpstart the game. I would recommend that to anyone, no matter what system they're running.
A Pokemon game?
I want to be the very best.
I want
No
to be
one
a
ever
Squirtle.
The only Pokemon game I
Train
would
them
play
all. Catch them all.
is something that S.
Yeah.
John Ross put out a little while ago. It was called Pokethulu.
That's awesome. Does it come out of a little ball?
The shining dodecahedron they come out of. And that's-
I might have that song on my phone.
Do you remember the Adult
I
Swim
do.
show with all the superheroes living in together in a house?
Yeah.
Drawn together.
Drawn together.
Yeah.
God, that was funny.
And
Yep.
one of my favorite episodes is like there's a Pikachu character.
Yeah.
And everybody sort of ignores him. He's doing dishes or whatever. And one day, I think like a pizza guy or the postman shows up, and he tears them apart, and they're all horrified. He's like noshing on the bones. Pika Pika, and they're all like, and they totally realize how gnarly a freaking Pikachu can be.
A freaking Pikachu.
It just reminded me of something you talked about, a dodecahedron. Did you ever see the big brass D20 on
Yes.
Union?
Yes. In fact, we need to do a photo shoot there.
Not only do we need a photo shoot, we need some chalk and draw numbers on it.
I need to be lying under it, and you're all pointing at me. I've thought about this
Put a one on top
because
of
when
it.
you're pulling on a target,
Where
you're like,
is
"There's a
this?
big D20."
Right.
Yeah. No,
Where?
I've thought about this. This is a photo op. All the time.
There's a target between Colorado and Union.
And
Okay.
Union's a one-way street, so you can only see it going if you're going north on.
It's
that
on a
street.
corner with another street, but I don't remember
It's
the
like
name of
right
that
in
street.
somebody's like entryway into like. Some
It's a building, yeah. It's like a little office building that has this sculpture, and this thing's big. I mean, it's probably
Yeah, it's
4
about that
feet
big.
diameter.
D20?
It's a
dodecahedron.
The shape. Yeah.
We could go. We should go in there with numbers. and
You
then-
should,
and
so
then
you
we-
can be crushed by the 1 or the
right
20
exactly
or the.
exactly.
Or just
That's
put a 1 on
amazing.
top of it and stand next to it and go.
There's so many photo ops though, and I guarantee you that if we go there and start doing shoots, if somebody come out and go, gamers, yeah, we get you guys every week.
Just make sure you dust the chalk
right.
off.
If you're going to do a stork picture, put a 1 on every face.
There you go.
Including mine.
There you go. That's a T-shirt.
Searching
That'd be
far and
awesome.
wide, it's Pokemon to understand
So-
the power that's inside. Sorry.
So is this an actual question or just advertising?
No, it wasn't advertising. He's just saying that's
Oh my
a
God.
thing to look at.
I spent last weekend watching a bunch of 80s cartoons. That was maybe a mistake.
Yeah, it was. What's the worst one? The one that you
They're all
thought you were
awesome.
great.
They're all pretty awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even Captain Planet.
He-Man, and I don't think I saw Captain Planet.
They're awful.
But yeah, no, they're awesome.
I have
Thunder.
the
Where's
power.
Barbarian?
See, by the 80s, I stopped watching Saturday morning cartoons.
No.
They weren't
What-
Saturday mornings.
Okay.
At this point, they were like when you got home at like 2 or 3. So basically,
No,
they
they
were
were-
aimed at the Stone College crowd.
There was a whole bunch. There was a whole bunch
never
of them
watched
that
them.
were on Saturday mornings. Thundar.
Thundar, yeah.
He-Man
See,
was,
I-
He-Man was
He-Man.
afternoon.
Okay, all right.
He-Man was afternoon.
Thundar is
Teenage
fucking
Mutant
awesome.
Ninja
First of all, Jack
Turtles.
Kirby
Hello.
created Thundar.
Yeah.
Never watched it. Never watched that. Never
Thundar
watched
was
He-Man,
awesome.
any of that
Thundar
shit.
was commandy. I mean, Thundar is like a post-apocalyptic world
The o-
with sorcery. I mean, Thundar.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. In fact, when we did the whole GURPS interview, we talked about that.
Sorcery and
we even
super
brought
science.
up Ookla the Mock. And remember
Yeah.
Ookla? You know why Ookla
Yep.
was named Ookla? Because they found him at UCLA.
And the Fabulous Sun Sword.
The Fabulous Sun Sword.
It was a fabulous sun sword. It was.
Remember Wait Till Your Father Gets Home?
Yes.
Wait till
Your
your
father
father
gets,
gets, until your father gets, wait till your father gets home.
And everybody thinks Family Guy's clever.
Well, that show was
1970s.
it was 70s.
Yeah.
It was the 70s,
I-
and that was
Honestly, thought I was the only person in the world who
I'd never
remembered that
missed it.
show
I
because
never missed
I always asked about
people
that show.
polluter, people polluter.
Oh,
When Mom was pregnant.
when it was done in such a neat artistic way where like the borders around it didn't actually have anything. It was all just kind of in the center of the drawing, and like people would just their feet would disappear because it would go into that air. So super cool.
Yeah, I think they did it because it was.
I
cheap to do
guarantee
it
you
that
that
way.
Family Guy's based on that because that's the whole blueprints right there. Even the voice is similar.
That's nice.
And the voice was Tom Bosley.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tom-
yeah, it was.
It
It
was.
was
It was
Tom
Tom Bosley.
Bosley.
Yeah.
Happy Days Dad.
Yeah.
He was the ubiquitous dad. But there was the
Oh, that was
neighbor, all of that. It's
so
all
long ago.
Watch Family Guy and then go watch Wait Till Your Father Gets Home and you'll go,
Or Simpsons.
no,
Yeah,
it's
not
a
so
little
much.
different.
Yeah, it doesn't have nearly the political.
Yeah,
commentary.
yeah, that's true.
I never watched Family Guy. I've never seen one episode.
Me either.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Boom. I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
I know.
I got told one too many times that I needed to watch it.
I know.
Right?
You know what? No, I totally.
And
I'm
that-
one of those
and
people.
that was the
no, me
time.
too. Yeah.
You were were on the fence and
Yeah.
now it's no.
No, I'm not gonna. Never see that.
Yep.
It's like E.T. I've never seen E.T.
I know. I forgot about that.
no.
That's-
Nah, you don't need to see
I'm not
it.
gonna see it.
I'll tell you. Do you want me to tell you how it ends?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, they all fly away
Okay.
on bikes.
Have you ever watched Stranger Things?
Real quick.
I watched the first season, but I need to watch it again because I don't remember much from it.
Okay.
Before I watch the second season.
You were
'Cause my
so
daughter,
high.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to throw this in, probably because you don't get to hear this very much, but Tyler just said you're right, that Family Guy even looks like.
I haven't even.
Wait till your father.
I don't
gets
think. I don't think I've ever heard. Is Tyler feeling okay? Have you got the flu, man? I don't
He's
think I've
sick.
He's
ever.
probably sick.
Yeah, you're not feeling.
He's probably
well.
at home.
He's
sick.
not feeling.
That's the only reson he's listening.
But that's why I wanted to
I'm
break
just.
it. I
I'm just
normally
gonna.
wouldn't, but-
I'm just gonna ignore that comment because I don't.
The
think
influenza virus probably got into his spinal column, so he's paralyzed and he can't change.
I think you're right.
Can turn
You're
off
right.
his
He's
Twitch.
texting with his nose on his phone.
Yeah, it's very uncharacteristic.
All right.
That would work.
It went-
It would work.
First time listener from Australia.
I've used
Australia.
an apple before.
Yeah.
Apple works.
You up, Gina?
Oh, sure. I'll be up. Oh, I see what you're doing. Hello, Stu and the doucheroos. Sorry for the horrible grammar in advance. Costa here. Midas Carrots on the forum. Long time listener, but first time emailer.
Thank you for that.
First, take a drink as I regale you.
I'm trying to open my thing with the bear.
Here, you got.
No, I was cheering.
You didn't drink out of the bottle.
See, I got
I'm running out of things to
Oh,
drink.
the bear!
a bear bottle opener. See the bear bottle opener. The bear? Yeah, it's a bear.
I think I got
Done
you the
got
bear.
your bear opening your bear.
Yep. The bear with the bear. Take a drink as I regale
Just
you with an email that hopefully doesn't end up being as long as Jib's regularly were. You're
Oh!
safe.
Damn.
He is
Yeah,
a long
not
time
even
listener.
close.
Because Jib has written an
No,
email
it's all
in
good.
Years. Many
10
years.
I've thought of writing them anonymously.
I thought about that too, but
Right?
yeah.
I know, because I have experiences. I
I have experiences.
am contacting you through the World Wide Web.
Ooh, high tech.
Yeah, I know. From lonely
series
old
of tubes.
Adelaide, Australia.
You know, I think I just sent a
Adelaide.
care package of
Adelaide.
You
CDs
did.
and shirts to
You did.
Adelaide.
You did.
Really?
Yes. We had someone who had it was.
Like a game.
We
prom type
actually
thing or
have
something?
a video of it. Did you
Yep.
not see it?
I did.
It's
I did.
okay.
What?
Yeah, they bought all. Someone bought a gift for someone else, and it was like all the CDs, and then all the shirts.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
It
Oh,
might,
all the Boggart CDs?
Yeah.
it might be.
That's quite
That's
a catalog.
awesome.
Well, the ones that are in print.
Oh, okay.
That's
It's
awesome.
Eight.
Okay.
Oh, I can't do this like you, Stu. If you prefer to read the rest of this with a... I can't do it. Very shouty...
If you prefer to read the rest of this email with a very shouty Australian accent, I won't
I'll
stop you.
I have been role-playing since
Stu does everything very shouty. to be
late,
fair.
late high school when I was about 17. After a 2-year hiatus, for reasons I will go into in another email, if you would like a horror story, I was brought back into the medium by some good friends and have never looked back. On my 21st birthday, I was introduced to your podcast in passing by the crew at System Mastery.
Wow, nice.
I know. And for the next 2 years, I have done an Andy Dufresne from Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
That is to say, slowly slogged through your shit-filled backlog to come out the other side a better role player
Andy
than GM.
Dufresne.
Well played.
That
Crawl
is
through
a
tunnel of
lovely,
shit.
lovely metaphor.
Well, let me tell you, Andy Dufresne crawled through a tunnel of shit.
You fuckers, take a drink. Okay, take a drink.
I don't have anything to drink. I'm out of beer.
I was so close to the end, and I could see the light of, oh, what is this? You start releasing actual plays and keep spoiling them on the main podcast, so I just can't ignore them and have to listen to them too. But in all seriousness, they are some of the best games I have heard. I especially loved the Inukai game, which got me to run an L5R game for my mates. And I am thoroughly enjoying the Masks and Savage Worlds Rifts games.
Nice.
Thank
Savage
you.
Worlds Rifts has ended because we finished the story
And
arc.
Masks, yeah.
And
So, but thank you for listening. Still more content, though.
Yep.
Now I have for you a choice for when I message back. Would you prefer to hear about, 1, a horror story? So chat room, you should vote on this. Number 1
Can
would
we
be
vote too?
a horror story. Sure.
Okay, I want to
You're
vote.
a people.
I'm a person.
You're a people. Yeah.
Oh, number 1 is gold.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
horror story from a convention of neck-beard proportions. Yeah. Or 2, the horror story of why I stopped role-playing.
I
The
vote for
choice
one.
is yours.
I'm putting in my vote for one.
I love
I don't
neckbeards.
know.
I love neckbeard stories.
I don't know. I got more email to read, so you guys
I'm
can
gonna
vote.
say I'm gonna
Stool.
vote. Here's my vote.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for one with the option of having 2 show up next week
I'm
because we need to
kind
hear
of-
both.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I definitely want both.
Yeah.
I want both, but I
Two
would
sounds
almost.
tragic to me.
I
Yeah.
want-
down.
Yeah.
I kind of want to hear number 2
I would like to hear number 2 because it could be like
Yeah.
an important lesson.
because he started again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Stu, I wanted to say that midway through season 19, you mentioned that you are a post-game prepper because you come up with stuff on the fly and then add it to your story later in a way that makes sense. I thought I was the only one, so thank you for making my day with those comments. I know.
I like this guy.
It's like it's like I don't know what would the analogy be. It's like putting a blank jigsaw puzzle together and then sticking a picture on top of it.
Got all these pieces, but
Say,
I
hey,
don't know what's on
look!
them yet.
I put it together right. It's so much easier.
Like pleasuring yourself after
that's
you've had
actually-
sex. Okay, never mind. Maybe I've taken the analogy into that creepy
I don't.
place.
Oh, I call that
How much
sweet.
longer after?
I know.
But you're not saying no.
Oh my goodness, like
Hey,
I had no idea.
monkey
older.
I hit too close to home, maybe.
That's all for now. Thank you to everyone on the podcast for brightening the days of this young up-and-comer. With over 1,000 hours of content being produced by you miserable bastards.
Miserable, thank you.
Is
Thank
it
you
really?
for identifying me, yes.
Yeah, that's.
Well, it has
I
to be
suppose
now.
with the AP.
And a huzzah.
Yeah. 1,000
Yes.
hours.
Now for the shameless plugs time. On season 20, episode 17, my friend Dan messaged into the
Is he
show
Lieutenant?
about
Lieutenant Dan.
Sergeant Dan or
Lieutenant Dan.
There's the Sergeant Dan that
Yep.
writes in.
but he's from the States.
Ah.
Messaged into the show about a tale of diabetic crisis.
I do remember that story.
I
yes.
was the one helping him run around for over a mile to try to find this poor lad who was going into a low sugar coma.
Jesus.
That is not good.
No.
I thought I'd mention the club he was referring to in greater detail.
Yeah, that was a whole weird thing. We were like,
Yeah.
it was like the whole game. Well, Hill's fine now.
Pop Club SA is a business in Adelaide dedicated to fun games, affordable food, and a space for everyone to enjoy. We pride ourselves on our inclusive nature and make sure everybody has a good time.
Boy, you guys must stand out like a sore thumb in Australia. Sorry. Sorry. It was low-hanging fruit. I'm sorry.
Rooms are rentable for all your gaming needs, and we have up for role players a library of books for you to check out and use with everything from D&D 3.5 to Old World of Darkness to AD&D and much more. Much more. Every night we have themed gaming nights, from card gaming to console gaming to role-playing gaming nights. Best of all, it's in the center of Adelaide on Gouger Street, known to the locals as the Chinatown markets.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I just started thinking, okay, they've got some sort of place, some sort of structure with a bunch of gaming rooms or tables.
Sure.
No one's going to pay a lot of money to rent a gaming space, right? They have to be
Okay.
expensive. And they have affordable food. And I thought, Adelaide must be like a little small place where land is super cheap. Because, I mean, if you try to do that here, you'd have to have a millionaire backing you.
Yeah.
You'd have to. Adelaide has 1.198 million people in it.
It's a major town.
It's
Yeah,
a major. That's not a. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's a small town in Australia. Yeah, it's on the coast.
There used to be
Like
a place
all the towns in Australia.
up in Burbank, and I can't remember the name of it, but once a month they
Game
did.
House.
No, it was literally
Glendale.
a house, though.
That's in Glendale.
Yeah, and they would have different gaming rooms, and it was free.
Really?
I went there once with
There has to be a wealthy
Will H.
benefactor.
and my friend Morgan, and actually I went a couple times, and with Mook. But yeah, it was the same thing where it was like this old sort of Victorian house with like all these rooms with gaming in them.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wonder. I can't remember what it was called.
All I
That
could
is
do
pretty
to
awesome.
spare some garage space.
You sure you weren't really hammered and just walked into the Magic Castle?
No, because I wouldn't have been dressed appropriately
It
for the Magic
sounds
Castle, and they would have
exactly
kicked
like the
me
Magic
out.
Castle.
We were playing poker and I lost every hand.
Magic Castle, you have to be all fancy dressed.
you do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that they want you.
I
They
would've
want you
got kicked out.
in
Like,
business attire. I think.
yeah,
is what they put it.
fancy
Jacket and tie.
cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know a couple people that are
Yeah, me too.
members of
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't.
Really?
I've never been. I'd like
It's
to go.
fun.
I bet it's
Oh,
fun.
sure.
See, I love close-up magic, like what someone
Dude,
like
yeah.
with a deck of cards or something like that. I love watching that shit because I like looking at it and see if I can figure it, and I can never can.
Well, that's the
I'm
thing
not
I
perceptive
hate
enough.
about it.
Right.
I'm like, here's a card. It's gone. You're a jerk. It's because you know the card didn't actually evaporate. You know it's a trick. And
You're
it's
too
like, and you
stupid
can't
to know
figure
where
out-
that card went.
Exactly.
I just find it fascinating.
Hate it.
It's Magic Castle is really fun. When I was on the small fair circuit, I was a jester for a magic show. The magician, I use that term.
Which
but
fair is this at?
We did all the small ones: Corona, Santa Barbara.
So it wasn't Joe.
No.
Okay.
It was a dude who stole his act from Joe.
Oh, really?
And I just made fun of him on stage. That's what I did.
Okay.
But he was a member. We went all the time, and then I think we went once or twice with Tyler and Kate. And it's fun. It's really fun. If you haven't been, you should go once.
where's this?
I do want to go.
Magic
It's Magic
Magic
Castle.
Castle.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It's super fun. It's a really good
I can
time.
get you tickets. Bob Parker,
I
who's
dress
may or may
up.
not be around anymore, can get
I
you
don't
tickets.
dress
We have
up.
connections. You can get
Yeah.
tickets.
Yeah.
But the neat thing about it is, like you say, they have special guests that show up and stuff and do things there. But it is a bastion of that sleight of hand,
Yeah.
that
I love that shit.
that full
I
contact.
think that would
it's
be
a dying
awesome.
art.
And I can't do it.
No,
I've tried.
Well, we
I
spent
can't do
hours
it.
alone, locked in a room, memorizing D&D rules, as opposed to working out card tricks.
working out card tricks,
It's
yeah.
the same
Yeah.
mindset.
Right.
They just took their autism in a different direction.
Or practicing Kazuki.
Yeah, right. You're a musician adored by thousands of people, and he's locked in a room trying to make a card disappear.
But when he does it, he can't tell how he does
Right.
it. That's the amazing part.
That's-
Everyone knows how I play Bazooki because it's so right here. But anyway.
There is a Facebook link though for that
Yeah.
club, and if you
Facebook.com.
search, yep, but the Pop Club SA.
And the T, P, C, and S, A are capitalized.
Yep.
I don't know if that matters on
TPS.
Facebook. but-
And just like Facebook, it's the exclusivity that makes it enchanting.
Yeah, because Facebook's really
Not
exclusive.
anymore, yeah. I was
know.
quoting Social Network.
Hey, Facebook, I want my $3 back, by the way.
I want my $3.
$3.
What are you talking about?
Because I played a game. I played Neverwinter Nights like probably a million years ago, and apparently I have $3 in my balance, and I keep looking up how I can just get my $3 back and not play a goddamn game. And there's no place I can.
Zuckerberg spent it.
Yeah.
Huh?
He put a satellite over.
Oh, you
There-
know what?
there
It
are-
would cost Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg would make more money not spending it than
Yeah.
he would to spend
Exactly.
the $3.
But I want
Who's the
my
fool
$3
now?
back. How do I get my $3 back?
I don't know
Just
who I
tell
was.
me.
I don't remember
Yeah.
who I was talking to, but there's trouble afoot for people who have in-game purchases if it's stuff that you can also game to.
Yeah, loot boxes. Yeah, that whole thing.
Oh.
They're
There's
giving
trouble
away
on
loot
the
boxes, but
horizon
you can also get them randomly. Yeah, yeah.
because there are
Ew.
people that are making the argument, maybe rightfully so, that it's gambling.
Yep. Yep.
And if you
Interesting.
get gambling, you have to publish odds and do all
Yep.
kinds of stuff.
Yep.
At least depending where you
So
are.
we got a PPS drink. Love Midas carrots on the forum. Wow, that is the longest email I've ever.
Not even close, pal.
No, you were
Not
very
even
good.
close.
No, that's
And your
that
grammar was
he's
fine.
ever written, not that we've
That's
ever
Yeah.
okay.
received.
Now, just
Good job.
remember, we want horror stories.
Yeah,
Both
yeah.
We want both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
All
really
of
do.
them. We want both.
We really do. The whole voting thing's awesome, but we
Was
really
there
do
a
want
winner?
both. They don't have to be on the same
forgot to
email.
look.
Please don't. You can space them apart by a couple of months. But
And here it was a 2-1 on the at least on the
All
on
your
the 1
horror
and 2.
stories are belong
I
to
choose
us.
3. I choose 1. I don't
Three.
see. I
There
don't see
wasn't
any
a 3.
2s. I just see 1s.
Okay. So 1 is the first one you should do,
There
the
you go.
Neckbeard Convention.
Yep.
Neckbeard convention, but
Yeah.
but we need
But
both.
please send
We
them
need
both.
because we don't get enough horror stories.
No, it used to be every episode, and now we don't.
oh,
I
and,
think it's
oh,
time
and by
for
the way,
anonymous group
this
to come
is
in.
Right?
This isn't actually political, but it occurred to me the other day. I was
I got
looking
horror
at,
stories for you.
I was looking at a picture. I was looking at a picture of Harvey Weinstein, and if you
There's
ever
a horror
need,
story.
if you
Yes.
ever need to describe a neckbeard to someone,
Yeah.
right?
You're absolutely right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's got,
connects
it's like
with
it,
his
go-
chest
it
hair.
goes all the way, and it's like he's got this he's got like this
Truth.
big old jowly thing,
Yeah.
and it's just it's
T-R-O-O-R.
bearded, and it's
Truth.
I'm not
Preach. Church.
all the other stuff dislocated from that. The picture of Harvey Weinstein is your typical
funny.
neckbeard.
I would totally grow a big, huge neck beard for like a
Jowly neck
video
beard.
video shoot or something. I can't stand the itching.
I
You
know.
should go out for the next con.
I have enough time.
You do have enough time.
I don't have
Don't
enough
do it.
hair dye.
I want you,
You
to
can
have
totally
a,
cosplay
a
him.
pink beard.
All right.
You can have
Oh,
an olive
purple. I'll get some manic panic purple.
Okay.
Characters changing in unexpected ways from Chris in Osaka.
Don't read the note to Stu. That's
Oh,
him
I was
saying.
going to make a joke.
Go ahead, read the note to Stu. Dude, go.
okay.
Go to.
Note to Stu. This letter has a few parts. A thank you, an apology, a discussion topic, and a summary of game events that sparked the topic. Feel free to cut any you deem unnecessary or uninteresting. Okay, that was Chris's email.
Thank you very much. This is Chris in Osaka. P.S.
Okay, thank you.
That was good. That was worth it.
Thank
was.
you. I know. I was. Okay, I'm going to try this here. Akemashite omedetou gozaimasu, douchebags.
You have the worst Japanese accent.
Gozaimasu.
I wasn't doing a Japanese accent. I was talking as me.
Fucking gaijin.
That means
Now, is that Gozai
thank you.
or Gozai?
Ah.
gozai. What did I say? Gozaimasu.
You said Gozai.
Oh, okay, whatever. I don't speak
I don't know.
Japanese.
I don't know. I don't know how he's spelling it phonetically.
Well,
Akimashite.
that means Happy New Year in Japanese, but to cover my bases regarding when this is read,
Nice.
Happy Chinese New Year, Happy St. Patrick's Day, and just in case, Happy Easter.
Oh, he knows us.
So he just typed in all caps Z-A-I. But is that Zai or
Yeah.
Zay?
Or Zay. Zai, I would say.
Because in Japanese the A is ah always, right? Just like Spanish.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is it after I, except after
Zai,
Yeah.
Zai. So it's like a diphthong,
Zai.
ya?
like Gina said. What did you say?
Zai.
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 Okay.
It's Chris from
That
Osaka.
that should be spelled Z
I
I
would have done.
E E.
And is
I would have
Zai.
done
Longzi- is it
better
Longzi
if the
or
actual
like-
Japanese was written down.
Z E Y E dash E E.
And is
Zai.
it Longzi or like the maybe the European Z, which is
I.
is it Zai or is it Zai?
I don't know.
Zai.
Don't
It's-
correct
Zai.
him. Don't correct him.
Don't correct me. It's Chris from Osaka, hive mind on the internets.
Before E except after Gaijin.
Gaijin.
Longtime listeners,
Don't correct him.
don't correct me. Longtime listener, semi-frequent forum poster, and rare emailer.
Yes.
If at all possible, I'd like to have this letter read by Gina, Probitim, or Stork. Evidently, he hates you, Stu.
Wow, look at that. And all three of them are here.
All three of them are
How
here.
the hell did that happen? That's amazing. I did not plan this.
Any one of us except you.
Except me, because he hates me.
Because you hate Stu.
No,
No, he does.
You have a special place in his heart.
No, he resents my hating of PBTA games.
No, he accepts you for who you are. That's what we're
guy that
supposed
hates-
to do.
He's
Yeah.
he's very
Game.
inclusive.
He is. So it's okay that you hate the thing he loves. That's
I'd
okay.
like to start with a thank you. I began listening to the podcast around 2007 or 2008. I forget exactly when, but it
That's
was
funny because we
Before
started
it
it in
was even-
2009.
A little
I'm
bit-
almost
Yeah.
positive.
No, it was. It was 2010,
Not 2009.
2009.
I'm gonna,
And this is why he hates you.
Hy-Vee, I'm going to help you out here, okay? I'm going to do some editing on the fly here. I'd like to start with a thank you. I began listening to the podcast around 2009. I forget exactly when, but it was a few years after I moved to Japan. God damn
You're
it,
making
Stu.
this. You're just Stu.
He's come on, let me read here.
As long as everyone knows
He's been
it was
listening to us since before we started doing this.
before it was popular. That's all I want to know.
And
Hipster.
even before
Yeah.
then.
Yes.
In addition to providing decent RPG-related advice, interesting discussions, and funny anecdotes, you all gave me something that perhaps most of your listeners don't need. English language company.
That's awesome.
See,
I actually recognize this. I know what he's going with this.
my Japanese was, and still is, pretty bad. Although I had English-speaking friends and coworkers, I went home to an empty apartment for a number of years, which gets pretty damn lonely. Had I been in the States, I'd have been able to go out to a local gaming store for social contact, but that was impossible due to the language barrier. It's incredibly lonely and depressing to be surrounded by people, yet be unable to converse with anyone beyond basic transactions.
Dude, that's so sad.
It is.
It's what happens when you're in a foreign country.
Yep.
Yeah. No, all the more kudos and applause for.
When I was in
Doing
Denmark
that.
and I was going to school there, and everybody in Denmark speaks English better than I do because
I
they
didn't
were all
know you
trained
did that.
by British people. Yeah, it was a long story. Anyway,
Wow.
the point is, there were times you're just walking around and you're in a bubble because everybody's speaking a language you don't really know
have
very
no
well.
idea what
and
they're
all,
saying.
It all sounds like they're speaking English backwards, and then you'd hear English somewhere.
Oh, it's like
And
me.
you're like a bloodhound. You would zoom in. You're like, huh, do you speak English? No, I was just practicing. I'm really
Totally, that was me as a goth girl from Minnesota, moving to California and spending 2 weeks in San Diego and feeling like I was a Trafalgarian, like on the beach.
Wait.
Because I was like,
Wait.
why are people wearing shorts? It's
Wait.
like March.
You're a goth girl?
Recovery. Recovery.
When I
Not
see me
recovery.
slap
There's
them.
a thing that happens. You get.
I might be diluted, but
Even though in Denmark people could most of them could speak English, you get hungry
Yeah.
for your own language, and you actually miss it. I remember watching television, and like I was
Oh,
watching
for
like
sure.
terrible VH1 videos, and I got emotional when a Neil Diamond video for Jonathan Livingston Seagull came on. I'm like, it's in English, and it's. I know it was
That
that.
just
bad.
sounds
No, so I
lonely.
totally get it. Try it someday. Be isolated. Well, more isolated. Never mind. I'm speaking to the wrong person. You'd be very happy.
My retirement plans are to move into the mountains, where there's a population of like 50.
Have you picked out your cave yet?
It's
your
going to be a
cave.
cabin.
It's
Oh,
a
okay.
It's going to be a cabin. I'm going
Yeah.
to write my manifesto.
No.
I will. I'm going to write my manifesto. It's going to be in the form of a D&D module.
Okay.
But it will spell out "fuck you."
Your manifesto's going to be...
I'm thinking Idlewild, Arrowhead, or Big Bear.
All
Those are the
you
ones I'm
bastards who don't play GURPS anymore.
I'm not going to let you do that. I'm
gonna
going
No,
Love it.
Okay.
See, by the time he retires, they're all going to be like communities. It's going to be terrible.
Well, then it's going to be a smaller one. And Zachary's like, my son, he's 10. He's totally like, I want to go someplace where no one will mess with me. And I told him, I told my kids, I said, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And Allie's like, well, what are you going to get? I'm like, it's not going to be until after you guys have moved out and are
They're
established.
functional adults.
Yeah.
Right. And Zachary's like, can I move with you? I'm like, sure.
Oh my God, what a cutie pie.
I need help chopping firewood. Sorry.
You totally will, yeah.
It's gonna get
You'll need a
cold as
firewood
fuck.
chopper, yeah.
If he's not going to be able to play video games, he's
Sure will.
going to
Yeah, they
change his
will.
mind.
Better not
Okay.
have
At that point, the internet's going to be so.
Okay.
I'll still be doing the show. Just commute's going to suck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll all be on iron lungs, just like wireless to each other.
Yeah,
Go
just have
ahead.
ambulances wheel them up to
Yeah.
the cabin.
No, we just virtual.
I'm the only person who'll be able to breathe because
Yes.
the air's so thin.
Right.
10,000 feet.
You got to stop the monkey.
Sorry.
Take 6.
Go ahead.
The conversational nature of the Happy Jacks podcast.
Exactly. See?
Right?
You were just demonstrating it. Demo. Boom.
The conversational nature of the Happy Jacks podcast allowed me to feel, at least for a few hours a week, as if I was sitting in on a discussion of my favorite hobby conducted in English. Unless you've experienced it, I cannot explain how comforting it can be to simply hear your native language.
He's right. I get that.
Sometimes on particularly rough days, I would just play episodes of the backlog back to back to back just to have some English noise in the background while I did chores or ran errands. I won't go so far as to say you saved my life, as things here never got that bad, but I will say you certainly made things more comfortable while I was still living alone. So a sincere thank you to all.
Well, thank you.
And he has been a long-time listener.
Yeah.
That's true. And
Yes,
in
he
fact,
has.
he
Oh,
came out
yeah.
to conventions and everything. I mean, he was,
He's been listening for 12 years.
We've done the math now.
11. No, he's been listening for 11 years. We've done the show for 9.
Next,
Get your hand off my back.
next, an apology.
I get,
Are you
get dinner and a movie, you keep that up.
physically moving away from Stu and I?
No, I'm
he's
turning towards Stark.
Yeah, he's going to give Stork some loving.
Okay.
I'm giving Stork
Don't
some
go
love.
past the second knuckle.
I get dinner and a movie. Everybody has a prize.
Roll,
I'm gonna channel Hyvie.
Yeah, roll to turn him on. Ready?
Next, an apology. In the past, Stork, I've given you a lot of shit on the forums.
Oh, shit. Put your mic back on.
Oh, see, the world is conspiring against you. See, this actually.
I just muted. No, I didn't mute you.
It's like exploding
No, there you go. Now
mic.
you're muted.
Okay, I'm back on. I'm back. Am I good?
You're good.
Can you hear me? Okay.
All right.
In the past, Stork,
Listen, if you're going to give your vows, why do you keep screwing?
I've given you a lot of shit on the forums for being wrong, especially regarding PBTA stuff.
Yeah.
I felt really bad about it, and I wanted to publicly apologize.
Well, I've mostly been wrong. You've been right.
I'm sorry, Stork.
Whoa.
You are one of my favorite hosts, as you are the one who most often asks clarifying questions during discussions. You very often take on the role of the audience by asking things like, for those of us who haven't played this game,
Yep.
or what does that mechanic mean to us listeners who don't know? Or even, if you're not familiar with this series, which really helps bring in those of us who don't have any experience with the thing being discussed or referenced. It's very much appreciated, so please keep doing it.
Yeah, well, you know, if you're going to be a target, you might as well just make it easy, right? Yeah.
How was that?
Right.
I gave you a musical interlude for
Yeah.
that. Too.
Oh, okay.
Were there some light music in the background?
No, I just played the anthem.
Oh, okay. Now,
What's what Mac did when I complimented her? Dinosaur
Yeah, she has the dinosaur arms, yeah.
Dinosaur arms. No, stop.
Big head, small arms.
I can't
We think that
stop.
plan.
We're moving on.
oh, shit. Sorry.
Discussion.
On to my discussion topic. Characters changing in unexpected ways. As mentioned on the podcast numerous times, role-playing games are an odd hobby where the players are simultaneously both participants and audience. Actual plays aside, a game session is a bit like actors putting on an improv play for no one but themselves, with the added wrinkle of rules and a randomizer. As Jib is fond of saying, sometimes you make a decision because it's what the character would do, sometimes you make a decision because it will be interesting for the story, and sometimes you make a decision because you're sitting around a table playing an effing game. Mm-hmm. Effing was my part, because I know
Right,
that he
yeah.
usually throws that in.
That was editorialized.
That was editorializing just for you, Jib.
I think it's pronounced side.
I'd argue that it's the randomizer, usually dice, that provides much of the entertainment and drama in games, as it pushes the story and occasionally the characters off in unexpected ways.
Absolutely.
A string of critical successes that sees the party's improbable plan to infiltrate the unassailable fortress going off without a hitch. Mm-hmm. Exploding dice. Take two.
Hello, I am no mere hedge mage.
That's right. Exploding dice on a sneak attack roll that kills the campaign villain in the middle of their monologue. Multiple failed rolls that turn what should be a sure thing into a comedy of errors. Things that make players say, well, I wasn't expecting that to happen. As GMs, I think we often say this about NPCs in our games. After all, it's usually the PCs making bluff, seduction, rapport rolls, or what have you against the NPCs. Well, we GMs can veto attempts that we feel would have absolutely no chance of success. Generally speaking, we have to let the dice decide our characters' reactions, regardless of how improbable we think a PC's lie is. If the dice say their bluff attempt is successful, then the guards in front of the castle gate are in fact that gullible, and will let the party inside. I feel these I wasn't expecting that moments happen less often with player characters, but it is honestly one of my favorite aspects of role-playing. Finding out something I didn't know about the character I am playing can be loads of fun, though I absolutely understand why some people might not enjoy it. RPCs are very often the one thing we have total control over in the game, and having some of that control taken away rubs some people the wrong way. It's also possible the randomizer suggests something contrary to, or otherwise ruins our image of the character we are portraying. The heroic adventurer failing a fear check and running for their lives, for instance. So my question for the hosts is, generally speaking, how do you feel about rules or mechanics that dictate a character's actions or reactions?
I guess I should have read the emails before I came up with a topic.
With the topic, Because
Because I think we
I
explored.
think we kind of talked about that earlier. So hit the rewind button for about what, like 2
hour
hours,
ago,
and
yeah.
you'll get the answer to that.
Well, I recognize the email address, so I'm like, oh, his email will be good. I'll just throw it in. I didn't read it before the show. Hi.
That's a good thing.
Have you ever been surprised by the actions of a character you yourself have been playing? Alternately, have you ever played a character that ended up being very different from how you originally imagined them because of what the dice said? Finally, have you ever grown to dislike a character you've been playing because of the actions they've taken?
These are actually really good questions.
No, these are fantastic
Yes.
and different
Yeah,
than
yeah,
what we
those are
talked
different
about
than what we
earlier.
talked about.
Yes.
Yep.
Do we want to talk about that real quick? Or
Sure,
should I
yeah,
finish the
absolutely.
email?
Yeah. We'll finish the email and then we'll,
Okay.
then we'll talk.
Awesome. Background. I have a bit of background.
Holy shit, he wrote a long email.
He did, yeah.
Jib-esque.
Sir, your email is jibworthy.
Jibworthy, that's an award. Can you put that in as an
It's a whole
award
other
in
page. You sure you want to
Oh,
read
we
the whole
should
thing?
have a glossary on the website.
Let's skip the background and let's talk
Okay.
about the stuff.
Okay,
Okay.
because the background's pretty long.
So
I
the
don't
three
play.
questions.
I don't play enough to have a character that I've liked or disliked or anything.
That's not true because Oppenheimer. Oh, your Oppenheimer, your character changed, I think, from what
He
you
didn't-
originally
Well, no,
with dice rolls and stuff. You
no,
became
he
the
didn't.
villain.
No, he didn't change. I made a character who was like semi-psychotic on purpose.
You made it sound like you were playing along fine, and then a situation happened, and there was a line in the sand. That
I was looking for
drawn.
trouble from the very beginning.
All right, fair
And
enough.
in the first or second session, I took one of the other PCs and I said, "Let's go out and fight some crime while these people have their meetings,"
All right.
because they were having meetings with city councilmen and shit. Like, let's go. So we went out and we found some kid that was like snatched a purse, and I almost killed him because my powers were like all radiation.
Yeah. How do you be a good guy
Like,
and irradiate?
I'm
people,
gonna give you just a little cancer. I don't.
right.
Just a touch.
I'm just gonna give you like
Here's a pinch. Okay.
little melanoma.
But you won't get it for 40 years. So
It's like the Denmark.
The what?
The Denmark. The death touch.
I don't know what that is. Where is that?
You've never seen The Men Who Stare at Goats? The
Oh,
Denmark?
No.
I saw that once.
And he gave me the Denmark, and I knew at that moment I was going to die. It doesn't happen right away.
Oh, I was supposed to
It may happen
tell
years
you
later.
how it's going to feel when you die on Sunday or something. Wait, sorry, I got this wrong.
Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be look. I'm supposed to say you're gonna die on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm supposed to say.
You never heard?
So I guess it's a one-shot game then, Dave, huh?
Ever seen The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Once,
I have.
Long time ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he in like
Yeah.
just after Vietnam, sometime in the 70s, the lieutenant comes up and gives him the Denmark, and then when the
movie?
when the story of the film happens, and the main character meets this character who received the Denmark, it's like 25 or 30 years later. It's during the Afghan War, our Afghan War, not the Russians' Afghan War.
Sure.
And he's been diagnosed with lung cancer. So that was the Denmark.
Right.
Okay.
clearly,
of
it
course.
couldn't be anything else. It had to be
No,
the Denmark.
of course it was.
They're staring at goats.
Death touch.
If we look at the first couple questions, I both love and am frustrated by games that have mechanics that dictate characters' actions or reactions, because like most people that show up at a table to play a game, like I maybe don't have we already talked about this, but I don't have a 100% formulated idea of who this person is, but you try
Right.
to do your best to kind of feel it at the table. And so if you encounter a game that then tells you how you feel at some point, that can feel very frustrating. But I have found that in the long run, not even in the long run, that when that's happened to me, 9 times out of 10, that's been an amazing experience where the mechanic of the game or the randomizer of the dice have told me how to respond in kind versus me telling a story in my head of how my character would respond, and that's been a really amazing experience.
Well, see that I kind of think the exact opposite.
Okay.
Because one of the reasons that I'm a little reticent about a lot of PBTA games because there are, depending on what flavor of game you're playing, there is stuff that compels you to say, okay, your character is going to have this reaction. As we talked about earlier, where's my agency? I don't get to decide who my character is. The dice are going to decide who my character is.
I don't think that's different than a trad game. If, once again, I cast Enfeeble on you, I cast Charm Person.
I see supernatural stuff as different.
Yeah.
As different. If you're talking about what is it? Monster Hearts has a sex move, right?
Well, turn someone on.
Okay.
Like a move that you would.
And you take away that player's agency. That player no longer gets to decide how his character is going to react. The character is simply reacting. Yes, it's part of the game mechanics, and if you're playing that particular game, you have to realize that may happen. Just like if you're playing Call of Cthulhu, your character may go insane.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. Go ahead.
I come to every game that I play with a very solid character concept in my head. Every single one of them. Scully. I knew everything about him before I sat down to play him.
Sure.
The dude that I'm playing...
And that showed. That showed, too.
Thank you. The dude that I'm playing Sunday with Kazay, I've got him all figured out in my head.
Right. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Dave Kazay.
No, I know. You could ask me anything you wanted to about this character, and I could tell you right
The
now.
Venn diagram of wrench throwers and players... there's this little tiny circle of GMs and little tiny thin layer of wrench throwers and GMs. That's Dave Kazay.
Yeah. No, I know. But I had that all figured out.
Dave Kazay has studied you, and he actually knows what you're going to do.
That wouldn't shock me at all.
That would not surprise me.
Two dogs howling.
They've been, the other night, too, they were totally doing, like, Wolf Song or something. I know.
Good for them.
Oh.
3 wolves, 2 wolves.
The only time I have been surprised by a character arc was in Jib's Weird Wars Rome game.
Oh, okay.
I played a snot-nosed, spoiled brat, son of a
punk ass.
Tribune.
son of a noble.
You were a trust fund baby.
I was a trust fund baby, and I was totally spoiled. And he was in charge of everybody. And over the course of that game, it worked out that he actually kind of, grabbed his sack and pulled it up, and
how did that feel?
that was fun. I enjoyed that. Normally that doesn't happen, but that was fun and that was enjoyable. But because I usually have such very solid ideas of my characters, game systems that would
fuck with that.
That would fuck with that sit very poorly with me. Because I come to a table and I'm like, this is my character and this is what I'm going to play, and then it tells me, oh well, now you're turned on, like the sex movie.
Yeah.
I'd be like, nah.
No, but there is still agency and interpretation there. So it's like, do you get turned on? Hell yeah. I mean, that's the mechanical aspect of the game. But you get to interpret that.
And the whole sex move thing, that's part of the game, and that's probably a very poor example of what I'm trying to say, because I'm focusing in on
it's an extreme example.
Yeah, and it's not fucking porn hearts.
But,
so like, it's not that you.
I think it depends who's playing it.
Well, I don't know. I've never played a game of it where you have to get explicit about. It's usually veiled.
No, I'm not talking about explicit, right?
I was speaking specifically to this one. How do you feel about rules or mechanics that dictate a character's actions or reactions?
Let me try to give you another example.
Let me finish this real quick.
Okay.
If there's a supernatural element at work, I'm totally okay with it.
I think that's different.
Yeah, if there's not a supernatural thing at work, I get to dictate my character's actions and reactions. That's what I get to do.
Okay. Diabole says, I would play Porn Hearts. So someone needs to work on the Powered by the Apocalypse hack, Porn Hearts.
Oh, so you know what else is awesome? Dungeon Hearts.
Stork had something to say now.
Let me just make a broader example. Right? You guys are getting really granular.
True.
When you're playing something like L5R, which has the laws of Bushido that you have to follow.
You don't have to follow them.
No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But
There's mechanics,
Yep.
there's things that happen if you don't.
Absolutely.
But it's your choice whether you're
Yep.
going to follow
Absolutely, but Tyler kind of summed it up. Was like, is that the game where you all have to play paladins? No, you don't have to play a paladin, but there are consequences.
them. You can not play a paladin
Mm-hmm.
and have a very low honor.
Sure, but there's consequences to that.
Yes,
you are
but
encouraged.
you get to make the decision.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yes,
Same with-
but that's a game system where the world has set up with a.
It's a setting.
It's a
the
setting.
setting.
Yeah.
The setting
Yeah.
states this is what's expected from this cast
Right.
of people.
Exactly.
Same with the traditions in a Camarilla
Cast
vampire
with an
game.
E.
I was just trying.
Exactly.
I was
Yeah,
just trying to. I was trying to bring it out because
Right.
you guys were like focusing on monster horrors. It is a broader topic here involved, which is
I think
when you're playing a
I
certain
mean,
setting.
having a situation where if your character doesn't do X, Y, or Z, there are repercussions
Mm-hmm.
is very different than you have to do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you're playing a certain cast in that game, yeah, you can choose not to do X, Y, and Z, but there are going to
always choose not to. But
Well,
there are repercussions.
That's in real world too. I mean, you can choose to step off the
Exactly.
cliff, you will die.
you
but
can
could.
choose not to get a job.
You can choose not to make a choice.
Right.
You still made a choice. I was sitting here thinking to answer his questions actually, and I can answer the question in one character. He talks about, have you ever played a character where the rules and mechanics dictate characters and actions and reactions? Have you ever been surprised at the actions the character had? Alternatively, have you ever played a character that ended up very different from how you originally imagined?
Oh, yeah.
And have you ever grown to dislike
Exactly
your
where
character?
you're
And I
going.
can answer it in one character.
Right.
Do you know which one it is?
Albert.
Trig.
Oh, fuck Trig. Fuck that fucking prick. Asshole.
Was he the one that left on the ship?
Yeah.
I think he was that way from the very beginning.
No, first of all, it's Traveler. You don't have a lot of control.
That's the thing. See, that kind of like unpredictability
yeah. Yeah.
in character creation for
Yeah.
me is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because it's like, here's the character the dice have given me.
Yeah.
How do I piece all of these desperate pieces
And that's
together
what
to
I did.
turn them into
This
someone?
guy's
Right.
this guy's a petty criminal. He's
That
a
to me
con
is
man.
fascinating.
He had no combat skills. He's a coward. And when I put all those pieces together, that was the character.
And a
I
liar and a
played
cheat
him.
and a loser.
And I got to tell you,
And a shithead.
I hated playing him because I'm actually kind of a follower. I kind of just want to make games go, and I was really uncomfortable playing him. When I retired him, I'm like, oh, thank God, because I was like,
And the next
nervous.
character you made is like, yes sir, no
Yes,
sir,
sir,
yes
no,
sir,
sir.
yes sir.
Exactly, as a reaction, because it was hard. I
Right.
felt like, I was nervous and I'm twitchy and.
Well, it's like Dave.
It was hard to play.
The character Dave Kazay had me play.
Oh yeah,
Svengali.
Bengali.
That is not the kind of person I am when I want
Right.
to play a game. I mean, look at the character I'm playing. Look at Grigor in the Dark Ages vampire game. I'm a rule follower. In our very first session, it's like she's declared Elysium for the entire city. She is a princess, is she, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Declared Elysium for the entire city.
Yeah.
I see people go, and we've been tasked. We're basically hounds or something. We've been tasked to enforce Elysium. I see two people, one person leave, and someone follow right after them obviously with the intention. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure nothing bad happens.
At least, because if the whole city is Elysium, then yeah.
I follow them. Yeah, I follow them right out and into the streets, and Jib's character intercepted the person following the person up ahead.
Yeah, because there was a
So I
Yep.
went right past him to get the person. Hey,
not
hi,
following.
nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm Greger. How you doing? You want to you look like you might be an Assamite. Would you like to hear some poetry?
But that's why I haven't played Traveler yet. The idea of the game, really, like I could sink my teeth into it, but the whole character creation system, which is what most people rave about, I think
Turns you off.
I might have a bit of a problem
you
with
get
that.
a chance after. Ideally, you roll the character, and then you get to go away for a while, and come up with
Well, it
how you put
depends.
those pieces
I mean,
together. And
At the Game Con, I'm going to do you're going to be limited to one or two
Yeah.
or two terms.
Are you running Traveler at the con?
I'm running Traveler at the con. I don't remember if it's the first or second on Saturday, but we're going to make characters. I'm going to limit it to an hour. So what you got at the end of the hour is
what you got.
Here's a list of skills you guys might need for the game. So if none of you have these, go ahead and someone take them. That's how
what
I'm
Dave and I did a whole character. We did a character gen, and I think we limited it to 3 sessions. or three terms. And everybody went through. I think Mary was there and all that. But Dave and I ran a Traveler game where Character Gem was part of it, and then we had a quick little thing.
I just want everyone to have the experience to see what it's like.
And people grokked it, and they were like completely converted.
And they've made their own characters.
Right.
That's the other thing. That's the second game I'm running is called Arkandale, which is basically a simplified version of Moment of Truth for kids, and very simple character creation system. And they will make the characters at the table, name the characters themselves, just decide what they are. It's a classless system, so they can make whatever they want.
Uh-huh.
And then they'll literally be able to do it in like 20 minutes.
Nice.
And
That's
then
awesome.
I'll run the adventure.
Because
I think that having that ownership of the character,
it
helps a lot.
Well, and it depends, I think, on the age of your kids. Having run that kids game, the Dinosaur Princesses one, where sometimes I could see them, like, their imaginations just go bonkers, which is amazing. And then sometimes they get gridlocked by, like, I don't know what I can do. And then you want to give them choices. Right. Like, it can be anywhere from here to here. But you don't want to say so much that they like just lock on to something you say. You want them to use their own. Yeah.
I mean, kids as well as adults can have that sort of structure hunger or analysis paralysis.
Yep.
Where there's too many choices and you start obsessing about the right one.
Yeah.
That leads me to what I was going to say about Traveler, which is it's almost a game for grown-ups because. Not that it is.
No wonder I won't like it.
That's not what I was going with that.
That's you and all your dolls.
I really had to. Yeah.
Actually, I collect pop vinyls.
I know.
The Funko Pops?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. It's because you have to invest in whatever character you now generate, and it could be completely useless. It could be completely. It's
or someone you don't want to play.
Or don't want to play.
That's
okay.
Thing.
And that's a tricky. You have to have players that are mature enough to go, well, this is what I got.
Yeah, and I think this is a thing for me because anybody that knows me knows I like structure. Mm-hmm. And I like, because I'm pretty organized and I'm, but I think the most revelatory moments I've had at the table that I can think of off the top of my head have come from me making a choice in character that was not apparent to me on the onset. Where it's like either the way the mechanics have worked out or the way the interplay at the table has worked out, that making a decision in character is not something I would have predicted if I sat down and wrote my story of my character playing this game. Where at first, sometimes it feels really uncomfortable or not satisfying. Sometimes it feels really satisfying at the table. I can give you examples, but there are times like I think I totally effed up that dice roll and then this thing happened and my character is supposed to have this completely amazing moment. We're talking about the end of the game and it's, da-da-da. And it ends up being this perfect, not right moment that becomes the perfect moment. Like I think about this Sprawl game I played where I played the playbook that's the rocker, which is as close to magic as you get in Tears and Kisses. And I'm in the final moment and I'm supposed to do my amazing moves that are like practically effing magic, where I can, pretty much win over or manipulate anybody, and I failed. And
I know how that feels.
Yeah. No, but like this is one of the most powerful game moments I think I've ever had is that I end up then succeeding at something where I get away from the city with the person I care about, but that person ends up dying in my arms. And so I'm totally like, you have this moment that it's like, yeah, that was what was right. Not the hero's journey.
Playing that up too.
I mean, and the other thing is, whenever you look at any kind of a story arc, whether it's in a novel or in a book or a film or whatever, there are always tragedies and setbacks for the protagonist.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Right. And in RPGs, GMs, at least GMs like me, want to try to keep things.
There are no GMs like you used to.
Want to try to keep things progressing, and also don't want to be too hard on people. But if you
Frequently.
if you read, what was I just reading?
Oh my God! It's some of the most powerful literature or fiction.
I just finished the latest Expanse novel, and there is a character. I won't say who. There's a character who has some very terrible things happen, and it's like, wow, that is fucked up. I wouldn't do that to a player character, and I wonder,
or any of the Game of Thrones novels.
It's so true.
Yeah, right, exactly. Game of Thrones is a shining example of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's her name?
But even look at the Sprawl trilogy.
Daenerys.
If we're going to talk about cyberpunk, or like you said, just look at The Expanse, which is fantastic fiction.
Absolutely, and man,
No,
boy,
they're
boy, do the characters change in the last novel.
No, and that's what the two or three things that popped right into my head were things that did not go the way I wanted my character to go, and the way I did not envision, and whether it was introduced because of mechanics or other play at the table or what the play led into. Like I think about playing Montsegur, and where that character ended up is 180 degrees opposite of where I thought that character was going to end up.
But when you go into the game, don't you want your character to succeed and have an easy life, right?
Yep.
Everybody does.
Yep.
Right.
You want the hero's
but
journey.
It's not until
after
the session's over and you go, that was pretty awesome. The fact that I like.
And that's why I'm saying that perhaps in certain games, certain play styles even lend themselves to a mature level of play, which is you're willing to embrace that failure and follow it wherever it leads. Whether it was a bad dice roll, whether it was a bad character that got generated randomly, and you put those pieces together and you just like, well, this is the hand I am dealt. I'm playing it.
Yep.
This is the way the dice fell.
And
this is the way that situation rolled out.
I have a character who should absolutely not be in any of the situations my character is going to be in.
Yeah.
It happens to all of us.
The total fish out of water.
But I think it takes a certain player that have the courage and conviction to follow that failure. And it leads to interesting things. Absolutely.
I think that's tough even for good players.
I do too.
It is. Everybody wants to succeed. Nobody wants to, I don't want to play a broken toy.
No, absolutely.
I don't want to play with a broken toy.
In the moment, sometimes it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't.
And it doesn't feel like especially because depending on what's going on in gameplay, you're in turn order, or you're even if you're not in turn order, you're waiting for spotlight shifting and you think you know what you're going to do, and you're kind of in the game in your head and you're in your character, and then something changes, whether it's through a roll of the dice or other things that have changed in the narration or the fiction, and sometimes that doesn't feel good. But I swear it's like that lame thing where they say you learn more from being in a difficult or
it really
uncomfortable
puts you off
position.
Your game. It really. I mean, I can say this with Trig. I rolled this character. That's the character I had. These are the cards that I'm dealt.
You went to war with the army you had, not the army you won.
And exactly. And I played him. To all of those faults, I played up to those faults, and I gotta say, I didn't like playing him. I didn't like what I did. I felt uncomfortable doing it. But it made for a really interesting game, which is what speaks to your point.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about Trig. Everybody talks about the situation. I didn't like doing it, but that's exactly what the character would have done. It would have been so easy for me to just shoot that thing and hang out and not be honest to what the character motivations
and not leave us stranded on a planet in the middle of the wild zone.
But
I think it was amazing.
But how amazing was it? And was it being honest to the character?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And
that's my point.
And all of us had a unified goal.
Still do. And
I think you can't ask the scorpion has to be the scorpion.
It has to have buy-in from everybody too. It's that we, with some of the and maybe the system, because I think with a 4E game and you play a character that's going off on their own, like walks down a hallway without the rest of the sport, people get pissed at you. So
You know what though?
No, they were pissed.
Fuck
They
that
were.
shit though.
Because I didn't
Boom.
prepare. They weren't able to like get their dailies ready.
That's D&D.
You know what though?
Well, but that's my point.
D&D breaks role playing.
It does, because
Sorry.
I remember.
You can send complaints to happychecksrpg@gmail.com.
It's not just D&D, but it's that mindset, because I remember my first couple of years too, where I'm thinking, okay, I'm playing in character, I'm going to make choices in character, and I could palpably feel
It's the players
how
versus
much-
the adventure.
how pissed off people would be when I would do certain things, and it's like
I
a matter
did
of
not make friends.
yeah, but you know what? Fuck that shit.
But you know what? Everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's...
I play.
And the only thing worse than not being talked about is being talked about. Wait.
Is that Oscar
No, wait.
Wilde?
Yes, it is.
Kind
but
of the
he
opposite.
kind of fucked it up.
Yeah.
I've come to the point in playing games now where that's what I want to explore are those
Me too.
are those flaws and
Yep.
those accidents and that stuff. I think that's infinitely more interesting to me
Yep.
than hitting and winning.
Sure.
I don't seek them out, but I will if they're there. I will not embrace them.
Never play Pathfinder
Yeah.
Society.
I don't know.
Alright.
You might
They'll
want to
burn
try
you at a
hitting
stake.
and winning.
Try
once.
winning once in a while.
You should try winning once in a while. I
No.
know it's foreign for you.
It is.
No, but sometimes you want that. Sometimes you want, I want to just hit with a hammer, and I want to, but
I think the flawed hero is infinitely more interesting.
I do
than
too.
You know, Superman's boring.
Yeah.
And now they
agree.
made Batman boring, but I mean,
Superman
but the
and Batman
flawed
are both
hero
so
is
boring.
Yep.
you know, Daredevil is so much more interesting
yep,
than Batman.
that's why Marvel.
Marvel's so much better
Marvel.
than DC.
Anyway,
Sorry.
that's
Complaints
all the
can go to Stu at Happy.
and right, and all the
Complaints
fanboys
can
are
go
going
to
to
me.
yell up and
I told Marvel.
But I
girl.
mean, I'm using that as a broad example,
Boom.
but it's
Yeah,
the broken toy.
Yeah.
To try to work with the broken toy is more challenging for me.
Yep.
Than it is to work with the one that's the plays right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I may be
Yep.
getting lost in the metaphor, but
I once played a 3-strength wizard.
well, didn't we all? Because that was your dump stat.
no,
as a
and
wizard.
the thing would be, what if you played an 18 strength wizard?
Right?
You know,
That's
because it's
the
like,
one.
why the f did you put your points in
Right?
strength and not in
Strength's your
int
dump
and-
stat as a wizard.
Yeah.
No, but it was just straight random roll.
Yep.
3. Fuck.
Yeah, no, so I think along the same lines that, you know, playing a character that ends up very differently than how you originally imagine them because of what the dice say. And you take these...
I do like, and I also like to, like Tim, I like to sort of plan a bit, but I also like to leave it open. I do like to have a character. I like to start young with a problem, and I like to have it solved through the course of the game. And that doesn't always work out. But I do like a character arc for me. And part of the problem with Albert was that his character arc ended at some point, and then I didn't know what to do.
I'm not.
Muscle wizards cast fists.
Yes, there you go.
I'm not saying that
Mage's hand.
that
Muscle wizard.
the characters
Mage
that I
hand.
come up with are fixed and immobile. I mean.
No, I know
No,
you're not
no,
saying
of
that.
course
Yeah, because Scully, for instance, changed a whole lot over that campaign. Like
Sure.
he started out hating everybody, and by the end he was trusting not you, but
You're not supposed to.
no, I know, but
Nobody should trust me.
what I was saying is his thought process and that kind of stuff. That's what I come prepared with. I know how he will think about
motivations,
things,
yeah.
his motivations.
What actors
I
call
know,
motivations.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But has there ever been a moment in play where, no matter how strongly you've defined that character, where whether it's dice or interplay at the table, you're like,
You're confronted with the reality of your dice roll.
yeah,
Only my Tribune.
okay.
Yeah.
No, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Who also had a list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tyler's back. He left and came back. Oh my God, Tim is still talking.
Actually,
No, but you know what? Oh, I'm sorry, you
no.
finished.
Go ahead. I was just gonna ask if we beat this horse because there's still a whole background.
Yeah, there
story.
is.
I
There's another
like,
page and a half.
because even as a character who knew what they thought they would expect from that character in the Weird War Rome game, you surprised me as a character. So my character, who was an indigenous people, so
Yeah.
she was a native scout, a speculator.
which made her like several stratas
Oh yeah,
lower than me.
Yeah, it's like a
it's
negative 4
yeah,
charisma
yeah.
because I was like a peon Celt.
Yeah.
To his fine Roman.
Barely human.
Yeah, no,
right?
literally.
Yeah. And a woman.
And a woman.
Yeah.
Right.
And an archer, so not even a real combatant.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
But I remember things happening.
Wait for the Mongols.
I know, right? Yeah.
Because
Sorry,
and this didn't come out till the end of the game, but there was a reason she was even part of, this whole scenario that no one really knew about except for my character backstory in my head. But you made choices in character that made me not second guess, but made my character react differently to you than I would have.
Was that with the spoils and stuff?
Yeah, because you were nice to her in sort of a genuine way. And she did not expect that because you were an asshole Roman. Yeah, and she was totally using the situation to accomplish what she wanted to accomplish. But then you actually kind of treated her like a person.
Yeah.
And so it made me in character make choices that I didn't necessarily seek out in the beginning because I was going to treat you, I was just going to use you and treat you like,
Every writer I've ever heard interviewed talks about the characters taking a life of their own, and that's exactly what you're describing, right?
Yeah.
And once they figure out the motivations or whatever, and they throw away lots and lots of stuff, but at some point the characters start writing themselves, and that's what you're saying right there. At some point, their characters starts, the motivations or whatever it is, they clicks, and everything starts writing itself.
Yeah, and I like when you have to really think about your choices, and it's not just because like you said, Tim, I mean, I think a lot of us go to the table with a good idea of who this person is, but then you're confronted with things like in life where you don't necessarily make the choice that this character you fleshed out would necessarily make. So I think that's cool.
It is, and it's a different level of role playing, I think, than most people like to do, or have even thought about doing. And I'm not to say that we're all superhuman at all, but I think it at some point you start saying, well, all right, instead of just hitting and shit, what happens if I actually follow up on this disad? What does that do? And then.
And all the neckbeards get mad at you.
Yes, they do.
That is
it's a different type of way to play a game.
I try at least once a month before we have a show to go to the local gaming store and see what's there.
Oh, cool.
Did you know that there is a Mongoose Traveler Starters box set now?
Oh.
Really?
I saw it. I could not open it because it was shrink wrapped. But it said inside the box is the Characters and Combat book, the Worlds and Starships book, a couple of sector maps.
Really?
And like some pre-gen characters and some other stuff.
I know what I'm getting my daughters for Christmas.
Very fascinated. Mongoose Traveler is a fantastic game, right?
It's so great. You could just drop it down in front of a party and go, here we go.
Right.
Let's roll up characters.
How much was it?
Maybe 35.
That's pretty
Maybe
good, though.
not bad.
That's what I spent on the book. This got
You probably spent more on the book. There was something else I saw. What was it? I don't remember now.
That's
Still no Thousand Knights Codex. What the fuck? Warhammer. Although the Blood Angels.
Warhammer.
If you play Blood Angels, your Codex is out.
Warhammer again. It's going on and on.
Warhammer.
Oh, you're talking miniatures again.
Yeah. I'm totally playing Warhammer Fantasy RPG.
Are you?
Again.
There's a new company.
Which version?
At first edition.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm jealous.
I know.
We're gonna finish this, or we're gonna say this.
Okay. We got to finish it.
No.
Although
we're
who's what?
Oh, it's too soon. We're done.
We're done. There's a new company making new RPGs based on Warhammer. I listen to the Independent Character podcast occasionally, and they interviewed the guy who's like the line editor or whatever of the new RPGs. And there's going to be one unified system for everything, and you're going to be able to play any of the alien races.
Oh, nice.
So, Craft Worlds.
You should look at the second edition of Warhammer
Really?
Fantasy Roleplay. The one that Green Ronin and Black Enterprises, Black Industries, I think is really good. It takes the first edition, cleans it up a lot, gives it a much stronger identity and sense of self, That's my favorite of all.
Love the fluff and
Oh,
that. Holy
the
crap!
fluff of Warhammer Fantasy is amazing.
I would have
love
to.
it.
That would have to be a bi-weekly game.
Yeah,
by which I mean every other week.
It is a.
That's bi-weekly,
Okay.
as opposed to semi-weekly.
I know. Yeah,
fortnight.
it's just fortnight.
Fortnightly.
Yeah, thank you.
Fortnightly, actually.
Fortnightly.
Thank you, Britons,
Yes.
for telling us about
Because-
fortnightly.
Perfectly
Yeah.
good word. We never use it.
And Forest, because Forest is a fortnightly, I think.
The other thing I saw at the game store was, and someone just mentioned it. What's the frickin' Genesis, the generic FFG game with the chicken scratch dice, the chicken
Really?
entrails dice? Yeah,
Chicken entrails dice.
they had. I saw the book there, moderately priced, $35 for a hardcover book that looked like it was about 150, 175 pages, somewhere in there.
Okay.
To be honest, that's what a normal book in a
Yeah.
bookstore costs these days too. It's like $25. Yeah.
And
Hardcover.
and it's. I think this was the generic, like basic game mechanic system part of it. I looked at it. A little packet of the dice were sitting right there, and I flipped the dice off as I walked by. But
I'm
it's
playing
out there.
Chicken Entrails FFG tomorrow, Age of Rebellion. We've been playing for over a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like, I want to say,
Do you roll the dice, or have you got the dice app to expense
I
it?
got the dice app.
Right.
Just because.
See, that's
well,
that's my
because
problem
who-
with the whole system.
I don't want 5 or 6. They're
Borrow those.
Ooh, okay.
them back.
I would totally roll dice.
Take
okay.
them with you.
Don't bring
Everyone
them
will
back.
have plenty of dice.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
need books? You can borrow the books too. I have all 3 of them.
I do
done with
too. I have all 3
He's
books.
washed his hands.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're really over FFG Star Wars.
Yep.
Look at. Yep.
It's a conversation for another time.
Well, that's the same problems I'm seeing with that. I'm wondering about L5R.
That's my concern too.
Really?
Hey, let's roll. Let's roll
I
a
can see
perception
that.
roll.
Does L5R use these same dice?
No.
But
Okay.
No. No.
a not
Same mechanic.
dissimilar.
Who made these? Master Viter made these for us. He made us some.
It's
some,
still
it's
chicken.
two,
intro.
there's 2. There's D6s and D12s. They
And
have,
they have
chicken
chicken.
scratch symbols
Yeah.
on them.
Or the
Yep.
I can tell you what
exploding
the
and
nut sack is a
Nutsack.
strife.
See,
the little
The little circle is a success.
right.
The exploding circle, the like little flower looking guy. That's no. The yin yang yang is a is exploding. I think I don't remember. I'll have
See,
to
that's the
review it.
problem.
the One Ring, the RPG, the One Ring,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you its own special dice.
Fuck.
No,
Special
but it's 66, and then a 12-sider, and the 12-sider is actually just 1 to 10 with 2 runes on it, the Gandalf rune and the Eye of Sauron.
Aw.
However, they tell you you could totally use a regular D12 and just have 12
One and
as
12.
Gandalf's rune and
Right.
1 as, whatever.
Right.
So,
You can figure out that with these as well. But I have the dice app. I'll use the dice app myself. Oh, Stork, do you want to touch these
Oh.
and curse those for me?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Here we
There's
go.
an L5R one.
I'm gonna give them to
are you
Kimmy.
storking it?
And
I'm gonna give them to Kimmy.
they've got a condom on.
it's fine.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I want to
Oh,
at
does
least
it
give
not
Kimmy
matter?
the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, they were actually in the room with me. It's enough.
Right.
And I made my own dice, so I'm going to roll dice for a little while till it pisses me off, and then I'm going to go back to the app because I have a feeling
You know what?
it's going to be important to try to sort through the dice anyway to see how that
Yeah.
works out, and how it slows the game down.
The app
I want to prove how it slows
That's
the
a good
game down.
point.
I have problems with the app because the app should. Well, maybe that's because it's in beta and they're not sure yet. Maybe
Yeah.
they're going to update it.
Yeah.
But it would be very nice to say, okay, here's what you've rolled. Which are your keep dice?
Right. You can't do that?
Click the 2 keep dice,
And then-
it should resolve the keep dice. So
Absolutely.
if you have an explosive success, here's your explosive success. Do you want to keep the result or do you want to throw it
It
away?
doesn't do that?
No.
It just
So you
rolls
have to
the dice
re-roll
and-
everything
It
again.
rolls the dice, and you have to like click on these things, delete them. I mean,
That's lame. Because this is all about
Really?
keeping the dice.
I
It's
am-
all about making
There's
that
an
dice
app
pool.
though.
you have to unkeep the dice.
Ah,
Yeah.
programmers created that, didn't they? Not gamers.
Hey,
Well,
I know.
I don't think they're done.
They'll be done.
I don't think they know how the mechanics were going to completely pan out, or how drastically they were going to have to change them. Which they have. Dice mechanics haven't changed at all.
No, but programmers obviously made it because they you
No,
You
because
unselect
if the
the
pro,
ones.
no, I think they made it very open ended.
all right.
And there will probably be a revision when the game comes out that will make it more usable, but it's not that usable right now. I'm not an FFG fan right now.
I know.
So that's the new dice?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I suppose because they have a Star Wars one. So why would they not have? Okay.
Exactly.
Sure.
And it's the same price.
Yep.
All right.
I'm being strong-armed into asking a question.
What?
Yeah.
Why am I not running 4th edition?
No, no, the question that I'm being strong-armed into asking is...
Oh yeah, make Tim read my texts. That's what I got.
Go ahead. Or do you want me to just read it?
No.
Okay.
Hey, Stu, why did your Edge of the Empire game end?
Because.
Because I said so.
For a lot of reasons. One of the reasons was I hate telling someone to make a fucking perception roll and then have to pull shit out of my ass.
That's right, because the dice have those weird symbols.
That's right.
And they're way
can't
worse.
just
They're
make a
way worse
perception
than
roll.
O5R.
Yeah.
And there's other reasons as well, Tyler.
How did you know that was who was strong-arming me?
You know, Tyler, if you stayed awake during the game, it probably would still be going.
Maybe.
Oh, damn, dude. Damn, bro.
Yeah, we are.
I'm sorry, Tim, what were you saying?
I'm done.
We have like a page in
We're
there.
not going to read that. That's background.
That's the background.
It's 2 hours. We're at 2 hours and something now. 2 hours, 20 minutes. 2 hours, 20 minutes. That's plenty. It's almost a tappy-length episode. Thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 2 of Happy Jack's RPG podcast. Except Tyler.
He's not even here for you.
Don't forget to join us February 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th at Orcon 2018.
Valentine's Con, yeah.
At Valentine's Con at the LAX Hilton Hotel.
It's apparently sold out because there's another convention
I
going on
know.
too.
Well,
Gallifrey.
All-Stars.
Gallifrey won,
That
right?
and then the fucking NBA
All-Stars.
All-Stars are also
Yeah.
there.
Right.
It's
Glamorous, beautiful people.
I'm probably not
with-
going to be there.
with us. No, yes.
No.
You can sleep on my couch. I got a ring.
Bye.
That's it. Thank you very much. We'll leave it to the song. Thanks,
Come one and all, both great and small, with voices loud and clear, and let us sing, bless Bessie the Queen, who painted the tax upon beer. For I like to drop a good beer, I do, I like to drop a good beer, and damn his eyes whoever tries to rob a poor man of his beer.
Let minister shape the duty on Cape and cause port wine to be dear, so that he may keep the bread and meat cheap and give us a drop of good beer.
For I like to drop a good beer, I do, I like to drop a good beer, and damn his eyes whoever tries to rob a poor man of his beer. In the drinking of rum, the maggots will come, and soon both paints will appear. I never goes out, but I carry about me weep and noggin of beer. For I like to drop a good beer, I do, I like to drop a good beer, and damn his eyes whoever tries to rob a poor man of his beer.
My good wife and I, we always feel dry at market on Saturday night. With a noggin of beer, I never need fear, my wife always says it is right.
For I like to drop a good beer, I do, I like to drop a good beer, and damn his eyes whoever tries to rob a poor man of his beer. The farmer's board will plenty afford, but it comes from far and near, and in harvest home the nugget will foam if he gives us all plenty of beer. For I like to drop a good beer, I do, I like to drop a good beer, and damn his eyes whoever tries to rob a poor man of his beer. So long may Queen Elizabeth reign, and to her subjects be here, and the water flows wherever she goes, she gives us a skinful of beer. For I like to drop a good beer. I do, I like a drop of good beer. And damn his eyes, whoever tries to rob a poor man of his beer. For I like a drop of good beer. I do, I like a drop of good beer. And damn his eyes, whoever tries to rob a poor man of his beer.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.